Okay, chat, welcome in. We are live. Knicks versus Pistons. It's just about to tip off on the Sling TV stream. So I know the ESPN, the Sling TV, a little out of sync sometimes, but yeah, that game's about to start up right now. Cade versus Jalen Brunson once again in the Garden chat, and of course we saw them play last time we were live as well too. I mean, I guess we live streamed during the game, but we were just on right afterwards reacting to it. So this is actually, I guess, we will be reacting to it in real time, chat, but. Cade versus Brunson. Cade just casually putting up a 25, 8, 9, or it just in that sniffing that LeBron stat line of the 28, 8, and 8. And there was a confidence to him in the pregame chat. They showed him like dapping up the guys. Oh, bricking a 3 right at the start. Uh-oh, chat. Hopefully it's not misplaced confidence. But there was a leadership to him, getting the guys sort of ready to go, but. There's levels to it as well too, and I mean you can tell sort of when a guy is actually sort of when it all makes sense, when the roles are defined, and when a guy is sort of naturally takes over, and then the people listen to him when he's on. A guy like Anthony Edwards, of course, people listen to him when he talks, but Cade just kind of has that gravitas with him as well too. I don't want to say that there's people on the other sideline that may not necessarily have the same sort of hey, rally the troops kind of effort. Obviously, Brunson, I think, is way up on that list, chat. But yeah, I don't want to start going through the rest of the team. But like we're saying, I think Cade, there was just a quiet confidence to him, chat, going into the game. That was very exciting. So this will be a good one, hopefully, if Cade. And the Pistons facing elimination as well, too. So obviously a clutch moment. And they said, Ian Eagle just said as this game was starting up that the Knicks haven't won. They haven't clinched a playoff series on their playoff home court. So they haven't won the elimination game at home since 1999. So they haven't done that at all this century, which is crazy. I know that the Knicks playoff stuff is rough, chat. I mean, there's been a brutal history there for a second of this team being really down in the dumps. But again, with the way it was sort of competitive there at the end of the 90s and into the 2000s, and then with the Melo run and all that. But I guess if you're taking that the Melo run into account, and I guess even the playoff series that they've won the last couple of times with Brunson, they haven't won those series at home. They've always won the clinching game on the road, which is a credit to maybe this Brunson team, though. I guess, they've just gone to the divisional round at this point. Oh, Brunson himself, chat, gets a little rim out pause to start. So I guess we're just a minute in, so we'll see if the nerves take over. Asar Thompson right away. I mean, Duran cleaning up and the rebounds. I mean, the energy that he's provided has been big all series. But you just see Josh Hart attacking right away, chat. I mean, you see kind of the rushed offense to start. We'll see if these teams settle in. But should we start with some headlining news? Steph Castle, they just announced him as Rookie of the Year, chat. I mean, lock it in. We knew it was going to happen. The man, I mean, we all know that everybody out there follows the Kia Rookie of the Year ladder on NBA.com. So we all know that Steph Castle's been sitting up at that top spot on the ladder all year, chat. But it's official. He has officially won Rookie of the Year. And that's the first time that a Spurs rookie has won Rookie of the Year, chat, since... Oh, wait a second. Last year, that's right. Victor Wembanyama won Rookie of the Year last year. So I was actually going to look up what was the last couple of teams to have the back-to-back Rookie of the Years, because... I mean, you think about, and that's, I mean, I guess that in itself is not necessarily, but it's obviously a good thing. It's not a bad thing as well too. If you're thinking about it from the back-to-back number one pick aspects of it, then that is obviously a bad thing. Oh, and shout out to Dick Barnett, chat. Rest in peace. NBA legend, Hall of Famer on those Knicks title teams. Made an All-Star as well too. Oh, look at that. 18 points, 23 a game in 65, and that wasn't even the All-Star season. Put him in the All-Star game in 65, 66. Can we give him an honorary second All-Star, chat? Crazy. And then I guess just a tenured run with the Knicks. LA, Syracuse. So Syracuse to the Lakers, then back to New York to the Knicks, chat. But yikes. Shout out. Skull was his nickname? Interesting, chat. I don't know necessarily where that was used in his name, but Fallback Baby as well. Gary, Indiana. So I guess, what is the all Gary, Indiana team from the NBA? Dick Barnett might be the best player in basketball history from Gary, Indiana. Like, how close is that to the Hoosiers town chat? I don't know. We'd have to put it into the maps. But anyways, what were we going to look up? Oh, yeah, Rookie of the Year chat. Steph Castle taking the honors home. And you see just nobody really able to get shots in early, chat. Cade with the ISO on Bridges. And they call, is that Mark Davis on the call, chat? Uh-oh. It could be a pause, a bit of a touchy game tonight for the rest. We'll have to see. I guess it's not game 7, but it is game, an elimination game. So we'll see if he wants to step up. Though I can't really see the ref. I just see a bald head, chat, so my go-to is Mark Davis. But if we get a close-up shot of the ref, I guess we could Google the refs for tonight games as well too. But I feel like that's usually what you do halfway through the game, end of the game. Who's on the call tonight? And then you just end up looking that up. So I mean, make no mistake, we'll probably end up getting there. But Detroit 6-2. Uh-oh, chat. Tobias Harris in a closeout game. Do we need to pull up the stats? So we had last team to have, back-to-back Rookie of the Years. It may be a little bit more rare than I thought, chat. I was thinking there was maybe, I don't know, like Mobley and Garland weren't necessarily rookies in, consecutive seasons as well. I mean, Philly, again, multiple number 1 picks. They had, Simmons and when was Fultz taken, chat? Fultz, number 1 overall pick. Why am I not seeing it, chat? Where was he at? Oh, well. His draft doesn't exist, I guess. Am I crazy? Markelle Fultz was not the number 1 overall pick? Or I'm just blind. Or it was in the 90s? I was time traveling? Okay, wait, let's sort by name here real fast and see if I'm just... Where... Steve Francis, Felix. Yeah, where's Fultz, chat? Am I wildin'? They traded Tatum, the number 1 pick. I always, feel like it's definitely 2017. Sometimes the Basketball Reference just tweaks out and you go blind. But no way. Oh, because we're looking at Rookie of the for some reason again, chat. Okay, we're back. We're locked in. We were thinking of the drafts and the number 1 pick, so it got us again. But yeah, Ben Simmons and Markelle Fultz, the number 1 pick to the Rookie of the Years, but not necessarily the back-to-back Rookie of the Years like we were saying. And then Cleveland, a couple number 1 picks. Unfortunately, one of those being Anthony Bennett. New Orleans with, I guess, spaced out number 1 picks, but the quote-unquote generational guy with winning the Davis lottery and then winning the Zion lottery. And then obviously, Ja winning Rookie of the Year for that year as well too, chat. But consecutive seasons Rookies of the Year. So, I mean, just look at the Spurs guys to win Rookie of the Year in general. And I know when the Spurs, again, they get the number 1 pick, it's generally pretty favorable. Like, it knocks us back up into the power rankings where we're not getting that number 1 pick year over year. But David Robinson, Tim Duncan, Victor Wembanyama, and now Steph Castle, chat. So, the Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili rise is a little bit different than Tim Duncan and David Robinson. But, Portland? Okay, so Portland in 70 and 71, they had Jeff Petrie tied with Dave Cowan. So, I mean, that's impressive, chat. Obviously getting I guess Cowan's 17 and 15, so it's not like, just looking at the points per game. Obviously, that's why Petrie was in the conversation. You're putting up 25 points a game as a rookie is pretty impressive. But 17 and 15, and then Cowan's, of course, all 75 team, I'm guessing. There's no way he's not. Yeah, chat. Of course. I mean, of course he's in the Hall of Fame, but, the 75 can stack it. And then I forget sometimes the modern guys that are on the list compared to, and I'd say that I don't think Cowan's would get knocked out of the list by some of the modern guys. Like, he's still in the top 50-ish, 60 range. I don't know, Chad. I guess we'll have to pull up our all-time rankings. But I don't know where did we rank all the guys till we get to Jeff Petrie? He might be a Hall of Famer. No, 2-time All-Star. Of course, he's going to be all rookie that season. Oh, unfortunately, an injury for our guy Petrie, Chad. It looked like he was getting buckets, though, all the way up until the end. 18 a game the last couple of seasons. I guess, the efficiency fluctuated, but he's still that's still pretty good, Chad. You're in that 45 to 46, especially, mid to early to mid 70s. A career 45. Yeah, he didn't even play with the 3-point line, would have been post-merger, so he didn't even play with a 3-point line. So obviously he's not having that to balance out the field goal percentage part of it, but I don't know. Just looking at some of the numbers, I mean, again, they didn't have the 3-point line. The 3-point line did get interjected in kind of a good time. Like, I mean, of course, if you put it into the NBA right from the start, like, guys are going to adjust to it. But like, if you just like drop it in the NBA just in the middle of like a 50s some season, like the way the jump shots were developed at the time were not obviously ready to be extended out to 3-point range. So it would have been, and I guess, we'd have to go back and look at the 70s. I'm sure some of that influence is still there, obviously, because again, the 3-point line is not even in existence. But again, once, it's a couple of years, college, high school, like once the talent develops with it. And then even that first couple of offseasons, like, even now we see, a guy like Brook Lopez. You're like, wait a second, he went in the lab one offseason, and now he's just a machine from the corner three, just bang, 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 chat. But, hey, pause. But, the adjustment, I think, would be fairly quickly. But that first season would be pretty brutal. So, and I guess, it was still all the way up until Steph Curry, chat. Not like the 3-point percentages were necessarily through the roof for every player, or that people necessarily like cared about that in a way. And I get, Kobe was doing the MJ impersonation all the way up until the end. So I guess, and he got, with his career being as, with him playing as long as it was, he was able to, and, he crossed over with Steph Curry. He was able to play a little bit in that 3-point era, but, different part of his career as well, too. But, and I don't know if he was worried about any of his percentages ever, chat, but, it's just like a guy that was like, again, even if the time, like if you put Kobe into the modern NBA, I don't think Kobe's ever worried about his 3-point percentage. But, you get a guy like, James Harden as well, too, has never been like, okay, do I get and I guess the shots that he's taking have always been different throughout his career. But again, you look at his 3-point percentage and he's like a 36, 37% 3-point shooter for his career. So it'd be like the stats thing versus the eye test and the confidence, obviously. But yeah, either way, I don't know. We're rambling about something that has to do with Geoff Petrue's efficiency, chat. So 45% from the field, tied for Rookie of the Year. So that would have been the last example of a team with back-to-back Rookie of the Year. I guess I'm assuming Boston back in the day, chat. So they started handing out Rookie of the Year in 47-48. The Basketball Association of America, I think, BBA. Howie Shannon, Alex Groza, I think early legendary player, of course. But Ray Felix, Bob Pettit, Maurice Stokes, Tommy Heinsohn, Woody Salisbury. Hey, yo, chat. Hey, yo. Walt Bellamy, one of the great starts to the careers in NBA history. Cincinnati with a couple of rookies, again, close. But, yeah, that is a little surprising that Boston, again, not that historically it mattered because they ended up winning 11 titles in a row. So, I don't know, was there some bias, chat, toward the Celtics? I guess, we start throwing around bias for the 50s and 60s. It gets sketchy. But for the writers voting for Rookie of the Year, anyways, I guess they only give us the voting in 58-59 for some reason. They found the newspaper article with the voting in it for 58-59. Oh, so yeah, here we go. Oh, that's most valuable. I was going to say, rookie. Okay, so Elgin Baylor was the only choice. I guess 25, 15, and 4. But see, yeah, 40%, so I guess that's his rookie year. So ideally, his efficiency is only going to get better. But you got Bill Russell, who's a center, so like, I mean, modern NBA, Bill Russell's probably shooting 70% from the field, just getting the lobs and the close looks around the basket. But in 1958, 59, even with hypothetically, and I guess I'm not perfectly like, I don't know if that's exactly what his game was or if he had a little bit, Bill Russell with a little bit more of a mid-range game than we thought. But yeah, I mean, the free throw percentage, of course, would it hack a Bill Russell at the end of games, chat, would have been a problem. I think he would have figured it out, though. His competitive nature, he would have just, again, gone into the lab in offseason and been like, okay, Russell's at least in that 70-plus range for the free throw percentage. But, The highest guy on this list, well, I guess we don't know who the highest guy was in the 50s, but in terms of field goal percentage, the highest guy on this list was Kenny Sears at 49%, so not even cracking the 50-point mark. But I guess that was for the MVP voting as well, too. And they somehow knew Michael Jordan was going to be the best player of all time back then because they had already called it the Michael Jordan Trophy. And that's a bold move as well, too. You know, Russell's on his way to winning 11 titles there. So they're like, nope, still going to be the Michael Jordan Trophy either way. So I guess, you know, Bill Russell just, again, speaking of bias, chat, but always disrespected. But again, yeah, I guess they only have the one Rookie of the Year vote for that year on there. But you do have Heinsohn as the one guy to actually win it that year. Wait, so who did win? Were like Russell and Wilt, they weren't the same draft class. So who would have been the Rookie of the Year that year? 57? Let's see. He didn't even register a Rookie of the Year vote. 7th in MVP voting, so I guess they were giving it back out in the 50s or the 40s, though. So that was Woody Salisbury? Won Rookie of the Year, chat? In 57, 58, did I get that right? Oh, wait, shout out again, Dick Barnett. But, wait, where's Bill Russell at? Let's go back to... Oh, wait, did Bill Russell never win a league MVP as well, too, chat? Jesus. What are we doing here? Maybe just rename every trophy the Bill Russell Trophy, honestly. The Bill Russell MVP Trophy, the Bill Russell Defensive Player of the Year Trophy. I mean, Bill Russell, is that a test again for the greatness scale? Like, how many guys could you name all the trophies after? Like, who checks the most? Like, you couldn't have the... I guess you could have the Magic Johnson Defensive Player of the Year Trophy in a way, but you couldn't have, like... Or you could, of course, have, like, the Michael Jordan Defensive Player of the Year Trophy. Like, that makes sense. He's a great defensive player. I mean, the MVP, like, he makes sense. He's a valuable player. Great rookie. He checks that box, of course. I mean, in theory, I guess he would have been a... Well, would he have been a great six-man? See, Michael Jordan. I don't know. But Bill Russell, like, if there's a situation where I get, you know, whatever situation is where Bill Russell just needs to be the sixth man. Maybe his rookie year. Okay, so it was 56, 57, but either way. Oh, wait, did Heinsohn get him for Rookie of the Year? His own teammate? Is that what it was? 56, 57. Oh, chat, Heinsohn. Uh-oh, so speaking of bias, I mean, shout out Heinsohn, of course. Legendary rookie. 16 a game, 9 rebounds, 30. I guess, again, I don't know if they were working efficiency back into the stats back then. Was Bob Ryan riding around at this point, chat? I mean, you know, we don't necessarily, I guess, want to do the math too much and just start dating. They're like, oh, was he covering the BAA? The Basketball Association of America back in the 40s? I don't quite think so. But maybe, I mean, he was a fan either way at this time, so he would have opinions. I'm sure. Bob Ryan, call in and let us know what happened in 56, 57. Or I'm sure it's got to be in Simmons' book. There's no way. I mean, he's got a whole chapter. I guess the chapter's on Russell versus Wilt. So we'll just have to see, I guess. Go back and skim through that chapter. But, yeah, what happened in 56, 57, chat? Where Heinsohn won Rookie of the Year. Because, again, Russell's putting up a double-double. So I guess they didn't have the advanced stats to be like, what was the win share percentage? Did they win the title? Of course, they won the title this year. Ooh, in a battle with the Hawks, though. So that was Russell versus Pettit. Would Pettit have been in the Hawks at this point? Taking Russell to 7 games, chat? Pettit was a beast. Pettit was... You know, you want to talk about actually underrated guys in NBA history? Bob Pettit. Make no mistake. But yeah, I mean, Russell's putting up basically a 14-20 his rookie year. Bill Sharman, just a deadly 90% from the free throw line, chat. Kuzi, 82%. I mean, how many free throws would Bill Sharman have made in a row in blue chips if Kuzi's making... What was he making? Double-digit plus, chat. But he also won MVP that year as well, too. So, make no mistake, first team All-NBA, just the Celtics starting lineup. But Heinsohn, the fifth guy. Jim Los Cutoff? Jim Los Cutoff? Just kind of a forgotten guy there, I guess, in the Celtics run. But Jack Nichols? Oh, Jack Nicholson almost, chat. Just hanging out. Of course he would. I guess it'd be... Whoa, chat. Jack Nicholson on the Celtics. He probably not excited about the idea of that. But, yeah, I guess not even. So are the Spurs going to be better than the Celtics? Is that what you're saying? We're going to start doing the LeBron? Count them up. Not 1, not 2, not 3. We got to make it all the way to 12, chat, because the Celtics didn't even have the back-to-back Rookie of the Years. So the bar is, I mean, we're in historic territory. The sky is the limit. I mean, the sky was already the limit with Wembanyama, chat, but now what do? We got the most historic young tandem of all time, basically. Scrolling through the stats. Oh, Minnesota? Wiggins and Towns? Okay. That definitely, evens it back out. But what was the other one, chat? Portland with Wicks and Goff. So, Wicks and Goff itself as an all-time combo. Like, again, you're still probably taking that all-time Celtics core over Sidney Wicks and I'm assuming it's Jeff Goff, right? Jeff, chat? I'm bad with names sometimes. But, again, even Goff is in a tie, so Minnesota would have been the first unanimous that we've seen. And this wasn't an NBA, ABA situation either. Yeah, because they have the ABA winners listed separately here. So, also an ABA tie that year? Wait a second. So, in 1970-71, we had 4 Rookies of the Year. Dan Issel, Charlie Scott, Geoff Petrie, and Dave Cowens. Again, across 2 leagues, but still, that's pretty crazy, Chad. Everybody just indecisive, I guess, in 1970-71. Do we need to go back and look at, what year was Watergate, chat? Why was everybody so distracted? That was sometime in this. I think that might have been more mid to late 70s. I don't know, chat. Watergate was, it's definitely 70s though, right? Am I crazy? Do I know nothing about history? My guess is, that's where we're at in American history. We're like 30, I guess, we're about 50-ish years removed from Watergate, but we're like, okay, it could have been in that decade potentially. And the facts I know about Watergate: Richard Nixon, something involving a hotel room. You never know what that is with politicians, but Richard Nixon, hotel room, phone line tappings, 1970s, made some movies about it. I think those would be our top 5 facts. That would be everything we know about Watergate, I guess. Nixon impeached. So fact number 6. But I guess, Nixon, like we're saying, that kind of the whole, I guess that's really the only factual thing that happened with Nixon. The I'm not a crook thing. So there's fact number 7, I guess. But limited knowledge, chat. Maybe they want to keep it that way. I don't know. But wait, we're missing an obvious one here. Buffalo. How can we screw past move past Buffalo? Bob McAdoo and Ernie DiGiorno. Who's this guy? This guy went on to invent the pizza line, chat. D. Gregorio? I don't know. 15 points, 2 rebounds, 8. So is this actually kind of a, shout out to Ernie DiGiorgio, but is this kind of a comparable season, sort of? And, if Wemby did have the career of Bob McAdoo, I mean, make no mistake, that'd be awesome. I mean, the on-the-court stuff. The on-the-court stuff. But would that be a little like, Bob McAdoo? We're like, okay, ChatGPT. What player would Wemby's career most resemble in the future? It's like Bob McAdoo. You're like, oh, okay. So, I mean, he's definitely a Hall of Famer, top 75 guy. But, interesting career for sure. But this draft, maybe the 73, 74 draft, let's look that up. Oh, I guess they have the voting here, chat, for that list. Like, who would have been the other rookies in contention? Who did Ernie DiGiorno beat out for pause? Win over for Rookie of the Year. Ron Behagen and Slick Watts. I think they just voted Slick Watts because of his name. Yeah, chat. They ran out of options. They're like, Slick Watts is putting up 8 points, 3 rebounds. 8 and 5 is not bad. 8 and 6 for sure. Feisty little guard over there for Seattle, maybe. What do we got? Okay, 6'1" for sure. A lot of style. I like the sideways headband, chat. Maybe potential early influence on Cassius Winston. I mean, we don't want to just assume, but sometimes, and just in general, you're like, oh yeah, this is a new idea. I guess not necessarily bald guy wearing a headband. It's a new idea for Cassius Winston, but did he have hair? I don't know. It was a really, again, shaved sort of buzz cut look if it was. And I make no mistake, chat. I'm not like revisiting the Cassius Winston highlights. I mean, that's for the state fans to go do. So if there's I'll go. I guess if we ever rewatch the games where Michigan won over Cassius Winston, then we'll just get back to you with our research then. But Slick Watts, he did get better, chat. All defense, 2 steals as well too, that rookie season. But put up 75, 76. So this would have been when they were in the title contention run there a couple of years. Okay, Celtics, this would have been like that Cowens team that won the title. Then the Blazers. And then maybe they traded Slick Watts right before they got there. Okay, yeah, so it would have been 78. Because it was Bullets, Seattle in 2 consecutive finals. And the Bullets won one, Seattle won the other. Nobody remembers the Bullets Sonics rivalry in the finals of the 70s, chat. We'll always talk about Cavs Warriors in the 2010s, but Sonics Bullets, iconic stuff. I'm telling you, last summer I was throwing on highlights from the 79 final, trying to find full games, chat. Plus, I mean, you guys know our thoughts on Dennis Johnson, of course. I think we made that very clear. First team all Remington pod for just random guys that we like in NBA history. So I was like, let's rewatch some Dennis Johnson games. And there was, I think I also rewatched, maybe they were in the 70, no, again, we just looked up that 75 finals, but was it 74, 75? Which one did the Warriors win? Yeah, the Warriors won 74, 75. And they played, they played Seattle in the semifinals. That's what it was. I was rewatching some games. There's like a couple of YouTube games of Warriors versus Sonics in the semifinals. But I mean, iconic stuff, chat. Rick Barry versus Dennis Johnson. Rick Barry's another sneaky all-time team pickup game. You're actually putting the guys on the court and running a basketball game. Like, what are the best weird combinations? Or, like, he's just one of those sneaky values. You could probably sneak him a couple rounds later than maybe he shouldn't. And not to say that, I mean, again, like, it's going to be pretty fair, unless, of course, Charles Barkley's in this draft and he's taking Iverson. It's going to be pretty fair for the historic stuff to their draft pick, you would assume. But, Barry's the type of guy, again, not to say that he's going to be MJ or Kobe or any of those top guys. Like, there's a world in this all-time draft where T-Mac might go before Rick Barry, and you're like, oh, I mean, with all, again, T-Mac might be better in this situation, just depending on the team. And T-Mac there's a less likely situation that, the locker room turns against T-Mac as well, too, at some point in the season. But just the numbers that he's going to put up on the court, the impact, the playmaking, the full round game. And if we're just trying to find versatile, this guy can like play make and score and rebound and defense and all this stuff. Like, I mean, Rick Barry's a baller, chat. Rick Barry, great. Underhand free throws. Got to throw the other team off. That's exciting as well, too. But Golden State, yeah, and a win over Washington. And that Washington team's fun. I mean, we've said it here before, chat. 70s basketball is great, chat. I mean, every era of the basketball, you go through it. The NBA's got some great seasons in there, chat. It really is a great history, great eras. The 70s, the 80s, the 90s. The 80s and the 90s are a little, like, there's some bleed over, of course, between, or yeah, however you want to say it, but there's some overlap between the mid to late 80s and sort of the early 90s. And, the MJ, of course, is 84 draft, but then obviously he dominates the 90s, so that's really defined there. But you still get and the fact that Magic, and maybe it is kind of defined as well, too, because Magic and Bird's career do get cut off a little bit. But just, Magic is in that first finals in the 90s anyways. And again, a lot of those, I mean, the 84 draft was obviously that historic class, but a lot of those guys were in that 84 class. So you have, MJ, Hakeem, Karl Malone, and Stock. I mean, Karl Malone a couple drafts later, but those guys that are constantly in the finals every year. I mean, Shaq, of course, gets drafted in like 93 or 94. But, outside of that, you get those guys in the mid 80s and I mean, that makes sense, of course, too. You need that time to get to your peak phase of your career. And it just so happens that it was like right at this turn of the decade. But really other than that, because then again, like MJ goes away, like his run is really, that finals winning run is defined to the 90s like that. And he goes, I mean, obviously comes back with the Wizards, but he goes away. Shaq, Tim Duncan take over the 2000s. And then I guess you could say, I mean, you could say the same thing where you have LeBron and Wade and all these guys in the 2000s, and then like LeBron ascends more. You're like 2010s, 2020s. And of course, LeBron again, 03 to 2000, he's probably still going to be on first team all 2000s as well too. But I mean, you could make a case that just, just voter fatigue, chat, if we don't want to put LeBron on 3 all decade. But then again, you kind of have to, which is crazy, chat. Because again, you're putting the 20-year mark on it, so 2 decades, whatever. But again, the way it's spanned, so I guess the ultimate question would be, would he be like an all 2020s guy? Because, of course, you have Jokic and Giannis in the mix for that. Shea, Edwards, Wemby, Chap, Tatum, Paolo, like Luka. All, I guess, how do we name like 19 guys before we get to Luka Doncic? But the all 20s team is still working its way out. But again, just the way LeBron is defining himself as a lead character still in the NBA, and we're at 2025, it's like, well, okay. I mean, if he gives us at least a couple more seasons here of, like, even, I mean, you think even one more season of where he's at, the basketball stuff, even if it's still, you know, that third team All NBA, maybe he doesn't even make All NBA next year, but just the commercialness of LeBron, and again, still like all that stuff is still, he's still going to check all those boxes next year, hopefully. So, you know, you're looking at more than half a decade as still a quote unquote face of the league and still a lead figure in the league, in a way. But, you know, crazy stuff. They put him on 3 all-decade teams like that. But yeah. Anyways, chat. You know, the league is great. NBA is great. NBA history is great. Going back and watching old games, the YouTube archives. I mean, what could be better? So what are we talking? Slick Watts for Seattle, and how did we get to? Oh, Slick Watts. This was some Rookie of the Year thing. Oh yeah. Okay. So Ernie, Jesus, chat, long walk. Ernie DeJornio got Rookie of the Year over Slick Watts, I guess. And that was the last time we saw that in Buffalo. A team have back-to-back Rookie of the Years. But, of course, this Portland team, not necessarily Sidney Wicks and Jeff Petrie were, like, the main players for this team. But those guys were, I'm assuming, on the team that ended up winning the title with Bill Russell, right? When did they bring in Bill Russell here? Or not Bill Russell, sorry, Bill Walton. When did they bring in Bill Walton into the 70s here? I guess we just go to the Bill Walton page. And then again, you know, Bill Walton is the lead guy when he's... Okay, so 75. So was Petrie still around? That's the guy I don't know. I'm pretty sure Sidney Wicks was on the team. Maybe I'm getting it backwards. Maybe Wicks was the one that left and Petrie was the one that stayed. But, okay, 76, 77. Russell's third season, second in MVP, 24th in MVP voting, his second year, chat. 24 guys got MVP votes. That's crazy. But this might, see, chat, 76, 77 Blazers, we might have to put this on the watch list for summer rewatch. This Nuggets series could be kind of fun to watch. I guess they're in the NBA at this point, so you still got some of the ABA guys hanging around. Yeah, Dave Thompson putting up a 25 a game almost, a 25 and 4. Issel with a 22 and 9. Yeah, this could have been a fun series, chat. But, oh, they didn't have either of them. Wicks and Petrie off the team. Uh-oh, chat. So is there a Bill Russell in the future for the Spurs? Cooper Flag? The Spurs are going to trade Wemby and draft Cooper Flag? What's going to happen? How did Sidney Wicks end up off the team? Why would you trade... Nico Harrison was running the Blazers back in the 70s. Why would you trade Sidney Wicks? Oh, he went to Boston. He had some MVP votes. Yes, Sidney Wicks was good. Is he a Hall of Famer? He's not, chat. Put him in the Hall of Fame. Second overall pick. Rookie of the Year. 4-time All-Star. I guess didn't quite. And you see those MVP votes as well, too, you know, in the teens. So not quite, I guess, an All-NBA guy, but still, you know, 20 points a game there the first half decade in the league. Then goes to Boston, and then, I mean, if he doesn't go to Clippers, that probably might have been able to extend his career a little bit. But, yeah, I guess, what was the Sidney Wicks trade here? Or was free agency? Who knows? They just let him walk, maybe? Traded or sold his player rights from Portland to Boston. Whoa, Chad. They just got rid of, and I guess we don't, you know, do we need to go back in history? Maybe the Blazers in the 70s weren't the most functional organization either. But traded by the Celtics with Kevin Kernut, chat? Is that a pause? Kevin Kernut? Hey, yo. Kermit Washington. Freeman Williams to the San Diego Clippers for Tiny Archibald, Melvin Barnes, Billy Knight, and a second-round pick, which became Danny Ainge, and then Rod Foster. And I don't know if Melvin Barnes ended up having like a great Celtics run, but I think Barnes was, Bad News Barnes. He was an All-NBA star, chat, at least those first couple of years. 24 a game. And then the Detroit thing didn't work out as well. But I forget what 30 for... It might be in a 30 for 30 where there's like a... Is there like a Dr. J or a 70s ABA 30 for 30 that I'm not thinking of right now? But... Or maybe... Is it like the Len Bias? No, because Len Bias was a little bit later. When was Len Bias, chat? What year was that? Well... It's unfortunately not going to register a year, but yeah, 86 draft. I was going to say that was getting closer into the 90s, but I forget what documentary it is, but there's like there's like a Melvin Barnes side quest on the documentary, or Marvin Barnes. Sorry, Melvin Barnes. Jeez, Chad. The Magnificent Move and Marvin. I guess two separate nicknames, but you could honestly just he could be the one nickname where you could just combine all of his nicknames together. The Magnificent Bad News Move and Marvin. I think it could work, chat. Obviously, sometimes we'd probably stutter. We'd probably stutter over it sometimes, but I mean, just the upside of Marvin Barnes in a trade with Tiny Archibald's not bad, and then Danny Ainge as well too. One of the solid role players. Chad, if we were, that Hall of Fame role player wing, he's probably in that, the role player wing of the Hall of Fame, if that makes sense. But yeah, you would have had Sidney Wicks, and then Geoff Petrie as well, I guess, too, chat, was later off the team, even though, again, he was scoring. And I guess a common theme in the 70s is a hot start to the career, for sure. So was he just injured by then? Traded by Portland with Steve Hawes to the Atlanta Hawks for Maurice Lucas. The trade was for the second pick in the ABA dispersal draft. Oh, okay, chat. So this was some kind of expansion, add him in situation. So, yeah, I was going to say, he made an all-star team the year that they won the finals, 20 a game, 9th in MVP voting that year. Oh, excuse me, Chad, as well, too. 20 and 11 that year. So, yeah, probably the best Maurice Lucas season. 2011 is going to be hard to top, Chad. 20 and 10 a couple seasons later. And then 14th in MVP voting, he put up a 16 and 10. In Phoenix, 82-83 Phoenix. You don't think about Phoenix of the early 80s, Chad. But Larry Nance, Maurice Lucas, our guy Dennis Johnson with his quick Phoenix tenure. And I guess you already see it's highlighted, Chad. Of course, we're visiting the Dennis Johnson page. Alvin Adams, how long was he in Phoenix for? Yeah, Chad, 3 seasons, right after Seattle and then right before Boston. So again, you got the 2 finals runs on either side of that Phoenix tenure. Unfortunately, once again for Phoenix, a guy on the team not making the title / winning the title when he's with that organization, but was 8th in MVP voting in 81-82, first team All-NBA. So, I mean, you see him as a lead guy. Of course, the defense is always going to be the thing, but could still have that lead guard. I mean, again, one of the lead guards of a guy that won the title, of the team that won the title as well, too. But I mean, yeah, obviously, this is the hope of hopefully this is the start of something great for San Antonio. And we talked about where Wemby needs to develop into the future, and I think the same applies for Castle as well too. And that is, of course, and the thing with any sort of team is that it's not even that last piece. It's sort of the difference in basketball compared to football is, it doesn't have to necessarily be one defined position, but the quarterback of basketball, again, is that guy that can get you a bucket whenever you need it. And that, that could be a center, that could be a wing, that could be whatever you need. Instead of your quarterback, it has to be your quarterback. Like if your running back's really great, that's awesome. But if your quarterback is not great, then at the end of the day, there's going to be a weakness, an obvious weakness on the roster that you might not be able to overcome. But can Castle as well too develop into that guy? Like I think, and there was questions about him as like a lead guard as well too. What would his guard role be in the NBA? And it's like he still is probably working out some of the point guard stuff, but you see his just ability to function in a 5-man unit and his ability to impact the game defensively, but can kind of attack off of the other guys on offense. And even though he was still not a floor spacer, still felt like, and at some point the 3-point shooting is going to be a thing that's going to happen. You're just going to be game. You have to play, especially now. Like if the guy's percentage is a certain way, you just have to treat it in a certain aspect. But what would even his 3-point percentage have been near the end of the season, chat? So I know, long Steph Castle segment, but a scan through NBA history, a little Dennis Johnson segment, a little Bill Walton. It's not all Steph Castle bias here. We're paying respects, I think, to every NBA franchise. Phoenix Suns shout out. Shout out. We already shouted out the Pistons and the Knicks as well too, because they're playing right now in the background. So shout out to the Bucks and the Pacers. They would be playing in the background, but the league has the game blocked for us, so they just don't want us to watch Giannis until he gets to San Antonio. It is what it is, chat. And Steph Castle, hopefully, is able to be a part of that core as well, too. The Giannis, Wemby, Steph Castle core is hopefully the one we're talking about. But last 8 teams, should we go 20? I guess that's going to bring his stats down, chat. Last 18 games of the season. Unfortunately, yeah, the three-point percentage still, 29% for the last chunk of the season. But up to 19 a game, 43%. Put him back in the 50s, chat, and that's a really good field goal percentage. He'll still need to work on it today. 29% still the last 8 games. Castle, what are we doing here? Yeah, the three-point percentage is going to have to continue to elevate. But 7.5 assists, 6.9 rebounds. Again, you see sort of the big wing, off-ball, on-ball versatility stuff that he can provide that, again, is still a little positionless when it comes to the guard position, and still a little like, is he the lead shot maker? Like, what is his greater role in impacting a title team? But again, the talent that the San Antonio Spurs have right now is undeniable going forward between those two guys. Wemby and Castle is a great core, and there's going to have to be things, probably moves made with the rest of the roster going forward. It is what it is. I think obviously everybody, it's not that everybody on the team is not, we're not questioning their NBA viability or even the upside they still have. Obviously, the talent on the team is still really, really great. The young upside, we still love, chat. But they have had time now as well, too, to prove a little bit what their basketball skills are right now without Wembanyama, with Wembanyama. And, there may still be things that's just like, hey, the more time that's, of course, spent together, the more it'll work itself out. But just, if you're going to try to make a title run with Wembanyama and with Steph Castle, of course, those guys are going to have to prove as well, too, that they can, impact games in the playoffs. We know all that stuff as well. But, the talent surrounding them, the rest of the roster, is probably going to need to be switched up in order to make a title run. It's just what it is, Chad. You see them with the 30-some wins or whatever they're at for this year. But, and, even if Wiggins himself is not necessarily the guy that was is the foundational building piece of Minnesota. Edwards, did we even ever think of, with all due respect to Wiggins, like, was Wiggins projected to be, I guess there was some Air Canada hype with Wiggins when he was entering the league, but again, I don't know if he was projected to be quite that. It was like, yeah, there's probably some 20-point a game scoring potential here, all-star, two-way capability, but I still feel like Wiggins was probably like a second guy, title team type player entering the draft. And then Jabari, and I can't remember who exactly the third player would have been in the draft. That wouldn't have been the Embiid draft, because I think he would have been the next year with Anthony Bennett. So yeah, I guess that would have been another one, Chad. Wiggins and Bennett, the back-to-back picks, and of course, Wiggins, I guess, getting traded to Minnesota is a part of them getting. So is that like a weird, Cleveland had back-to-back picks, but also Minnesota had back-to-back picks, but because Cleveland and Minnesota traded picks? Am I thinking about that right, chat? Let's go back and double check that real fast. We were in a rabbit hole. We might have to go back a ways. We'll just go back to the Rookie of the Year page. Give it a fresh start here and see. Yeah, so that would have been only a couple years ago. Cleveland, Kyrie, Michael Carter-Williams, Wiggins, Towns. Bro, chat, I did it again. Pause. Went to the Rookie of the Year instead of the number 1 pick page. But, yeah, Cleveland, Minnesota. So, chat, our brain's jumbled. It is what it is. Castle wins Rookie of the Year and just gets us overly excited. We can't process information properly. But, yeah, the back-to-back internationals for the number 1 overall picks, Cooper Flag. So we've got Duke as the last 2 colleges, of course, to be the number 1 overall pick. And then, I guess, is Dubasta still the number 1 pick for 2026? Or is there a different guy at this point? But he's BYU, so, still same colorway, but at least different school. Duke of the South, chat, BYU. I don't know if that's necessarily the label that they have, but It doesn't seem too far off. Milwaukee, chat, can they get the win? Let's lock in on the score here real quick. 5 minutes left to go in the game. 5.5 minutes. Milwaukee up by 2. And, of course, Lillard goes down with the Achilles injury, which is terrible, chat, for multiple reasons. And then, compounded with the fact that you get an Achilles injury at this point in the season. Giannis, 25, 13, and 10 on 7 of 12 shooting. Just casual numbers for our guy Giannis. AJ Green, though, gets elevated up a little bit, again, without Dame Lillard. And to be honest, there's been a lot of conversation in sort of the retrospective about the Dame Lillard trade. And shout out, I was listening to a little bit of the Zach Lowe show, and he had Mahoney on there, and they were talking about it for a second. And, Mahoney was saying that he was, Rob Mahoney, shout out, he was saying that if he was going back, he wouldn't necessarily undo the trade. And I know that it's not, I don't think consensus that, like, the trade, like, the idea of bringing in Dame Lillard is, a bad idea, obviously, to build the team. The trade, the way it ended up circling Drew Holiday to the Celtics, obviously was not beneficial for the Milwaukee, just in terms of setting up an overall title picture for themselves, because it just supercharged the Celtics as well, too, in this way. But, again, there's just a split contingent of people, I think, that's like, and still kind of a controversial move of, like, was that the right decision ultimately? And again, considering the pieces given up, where they landed, and then you bring in Dame Lillard, what happens? And I kind of, I think I'm more on the side of it's okay that they did the Dame Lillard trade. And again, the Drew Holiday aspect of it is brutal. But if you look at, and especially this year as well, too, if you look at some of the Dame offensive numbers, like, weirdly, I mean, again, like, offensive box plus minus is not, a perfect stat, chat. And sometimes, like with box plus minus as well, too, that's one of those stats that your stat can be impacted by, and obviously I guess any stat can be impacted by the other guys in the court. But, if you're playing with Jokic, you're probably going to be winning those minutes anyway, so your plus minus is going to be higher. Like, Dame is playing with Giannis, so obviously that's going to help him out. But, yeah, offensive box plus minus, chat, he's a top 10 player in the league. And again, you got, Giannis at third. So Giannis is definitely elevating that as well, too. And Giannis, I'm assuming, is third as well, and just overall box plus minus. Yeah, whereas Dame, with the defensive stuff, it's going to bring him down to 20, but 20th overall in the overall box plus minus. But again, like, some of the basic offensive, the numbers for him are really good. And I know some of the eye test stuff wasn't great either as well, too. But, like, I think, honestly, it's just because some of the Dame efficiency fell off. And I was looking at his box score as well, too. And it, really last year was a kind of a tougher year from the 3-point percentage, 35%. But this year his numbers are, again, like, I mean, and you see his advanced stats look pretty good. So his raw numbers, there's going to be something, intriguing there in the basic stats as well. But you see 44.8% is not, like, so far off from where he's been for his career. It's his 4th highest field goal percentage for his career. His 3-point percentage is also the 4th highest free throw percentage of his career. The effective field goal percentage still in the top 5. Turnovers, chat, not like his highest turnover a year as well, too, and still, offensively able to play make a little bit as well. But defensively, I mean, that's where Holiday was so awesome, and that's where, when the trade happened, that was our biggest sort of issue with the trade, more so than the player abilities, because players obviously, there's great players, obviously. Lillard's a great player. Lillard might be a better individual player than Drew Holiday. Again, some of the team building stuff, however you want to figure it out. But Lillard himself, is he on the All 75? Yeah, 75th anniversary team. So again, some of the individual achievements for him, he just had more of them throughout the course of his career as well. And then, his scoring performances in the playoffs. Like, I mean, we've seen Dame hit higher peaks than, Drew Holiday has through the course of his career, with all due respect to Drew Holiday, even though Drew Holiday has had bigger moments on different levels. Again, it was like Drew Holiday is the 4th best player on a team. If Dame Lillard is also on that Celtics team, it probably works, because, the identity of that and again, that Celtics team is just better than the Bucks team. It's more talent throughout. So they're like, Dame defensively, they're able to compensate for it differently than the way the Bucks are, where, of course, Giannis can compensate for these things, but can the other guys in the roster help compensate for those things in the same way, of course, is the issue. And I think, that's part of it with Portland as well too, where you think about the teams that were constructed in Portland, even though the top end talent might not always have been there compared to, the Warriors teams or the Nuggets teams or whoever, they ended up losing. Or did they take down the Nuggets in the playoffs one year as well too? There might have been a little back and forth between those two teams, but or I guess we could just go down to his playoff series since we are on a former Portland player page here, chat. Yeah, of course the Golden State runs, and then the 7-game win over Denver. So yeah, they did win that series, and that was the year. Yeah, okay, they got to the Western Conference Finals, of course, and unfortunately ended up getting swept by the Warriors. But again, there was still some wings on that team and still some ability with some of the defensive stuff, and Dame as well too, just with his scoring more at a focal point, him maybe with a little bit more freedom to do some more stuff, just work differently. But the identity of the team with Drew Holiday, with that two-way team, and even Middleton as well too, there's some defensive ability with him there. And of course Giannis is a great defender when they still won the title. Brook Lopez in his rim protection ability, and even some of his switch ability, he's a sneaky, if he has to try that a couple times a game, then maybe he's going to hold up as well too. Is he going to be Horford switching on the perimeter? Maybe not, but again, really solid, just overall defender, all defensive level team type guys. So just everybody, just in general, and again, the team was sort of this two-way defensive level team, and then Giannis's physicality. And you think about the defining sort of play of that Bucks run and them in the finals against Phoenix Suns, it is that Drew Holiday getting the steal on Booker, if I remember that sequence correctly, but it's Drew Holiday getting the steal, and then that transition to Giannis, the lob, Giannis with the insane dunk. And again, Giannis's physicality, of course, he's just as unstoppable mode. That's going to be the thing. But that is the identity of the team, and it fits into that. And even, with Jokic as well, too, Jokic, he's the type of player, do you even have an identity with Jokic out there? And Jokic is just, able to be such a morphable player that, morphable, chat? Is that even a word? He's just, such a versatile player that it almost seems like anybody can. You have Russell Westbrook out there, and it's okay, the Jokic-Russell Westbrook dynamic is just going to figure out how to balance everything on the court and make this work. But, and of course, the team building stuff, he's you still need the defense and the shooting, just in general. But I think even still with Jokic, there is obviously an ideal type of player you need to play with him. A guy like Aaron Gordon, is just Jamal Murray, and even Michael Porter Jr. when he is locked in, and we're seeing the best version of Michael Porter Jr. Like we did in that. I guess he was in and out of the lineup in that finals run. But when he had, and Bruce Brown, I guess Bruce Brown is another perfect example, and I guess it goes into sort of the, the high IQ-ish thing with Jokic, but there's a ball movement cutter aspect. So I think, we were saying Russ, you think sort of the ball dominant old habits version of Russ, that's, I think, a trap that he can still obviously fall into. And it's just, he's been such a great player. It's who he is as a player, chap. But even there is obviously a version of Russell Westbrook that works with, so Russell Westbrook is even a weird example as well too. But again, it's Jokic. Are there players that just don't work with Jokic? But there are these, just Bruce Brown, of course, is not the best player in the league, but Bruce Brown is just the type of guy that makes a lot of sense and can really function with that type of player. And I still think that Giannis and Dame can, the idea of those two can fit together really well. But, again, for some reason, it's just the consistency, I think mostly, not for some reason, but, there are reasons. But first, the consistency, I think, for the night-to-night stuff for Dame just never quite got there the same way. And again, even if the overall numbers sort of look the same, but that's, again, because these nights where he is cooking, he's having these awesome performances. So it's awesome that Dame is, again, having great games, but it's just these real hit or misses where the next game he's now going to be, 1 for 10. And of course, again, in Portland, you're looking at the numbers going, oh, this is still a top 5 season across the board from him from a field goal percentage aspect wise, that he's had. But yeah, just some of those games have not quite, hasn't quite just had as many as good games. There's just been more bad games for Dame in the mix. And now, again, with him getting injured this late into the season, he's going to be missing all of next season as well too. I guess I'd say all of next season, he returns so quick from the clot, which, I'm not a doctor. Like, I don't know if that had anything to do with it at all. When Durant returned from his injury, that's when he tore his Achilles. So that, I don't know if that's just one of those things that can be, it's one of those like easily compromised if you have to start compensating in different ways for other things. So again, and blood clot versus muscle tears and strains and those type of things, I don't know necessarily, like, if running around, if you're compensating in the same way, and again, running the type of activities you're doing, but maybe that's part of it as well, where the sort of the coldness, if that concept, he's like the off the bench, just cold start right into the playoffs, and now playing that playoff level basketball, and just that change of speed for where he's missed some time here at the end of the season. It didn't even have like the couple of regular season games to sort of work his way back, where sometimes like even Brunson, and again, different sort of levels of injuries, but sometimes you get those couple of games to at least get your rhythm, and not even to get the rhythm, but everything you say, the conditioning and all that stuff. And again, like, who knows what led to the Achilles injury? He's in his mid to pushing his late 30s as well too, so there's just a time aspect there with the athletes. But again, he's going to be 37 when he potentially plays again. I think is the age that we were seeing for him, right? Check here. Let's go back and get this sorted properly so we can see. Okay, wait, so he's 34 right now. So I guess, let's see, 35. Start doing birthdays on Dame Lillard. So 35 July 15th. Like we say, if he misses all next season, his 35-year-old season, then he'll be 36, July 15th, 2026 at that point. And then he could play the 2026-2027 season potentially. Again, having missed a full season, whatever Milwaukee, they'll probably trade Giannis by that time, so they'll not make the playoffs, but the playoff time still, he'll have time to recover, and then the off season as well too. Like we said, he'll turn 36, but he won't have to be playing basketball July 15th. I mean, the finals would be over then anyways. So unless they change the schedule or something next year and push the start date back, and now we're playing the finals in July, who knows? But people are saying that this, it's like solidifies the Giannis trade, because I mean it's tough to say, Chad. It's because with an injury, you never want to start saying like, is this the worst contract in the league? It's a disaster. Like, it's with anything. It's not, you don't want to say it's the risk you run when you sign a guy like this, but we understand it, Chad. Like, you pay a guy like Dame Lillard, and there was obviously contract debates on Dame Lillard's contract even before the injury, but a legacy guy like Dame Lillard, a great player in the league, at the time of his contract, like Dame Lillard, is going to get that money at any point. That is always going to be, of course, a factor either way. Is, we're playing a sport here. Like, this guy could go down, pause, with an injury. But, again, with his phase in his career, and with how the league has been restructured the last couple of years with the salary caps, like his contract number value is greater to the team, not just as like a percentage in your ability, again, with like it being hard capped, you don't have the ability to escalate outside of that and just rack up the dollars however much you want, but also with just the way teams are structured now. And it's like, okay, if we have this kind of really specific margin to work with, and again, it's not just the salary cap aspect, it's what we want to be able to do as a team in the team building ways, where if we're going to lock in our team and not be able to make moves, like we want to, we want to be the Boston Celtics. Like, we need to know our roster is a title winning roster. I guess, OKC has done such a good job with it. They're still early on in their process. They have flexibility because they were not spending so much money, and they have enough draft picks at this point. But, you get a team like Boston, they're in the second apron. Like, they can only trade one guy at a time. Like, they do actually have all the restrictions that, like, would suck to have if, you're a second apron team, and that we go, oh, Phoenix, they're handicapped with all these different things. Like, they can't make any moves as a franchise. Like, Boston's in the same spot, chat. But the difference is Boston's team is good, of course. And so, if you're going to lock in a team, like, we need to be certain that the guy we're signing is Brown and Tatum and all this stuff for certain. So, again, the importance of the 40, 50, 60, 70 million dollar guy on your roster is just more as well too, because again, you're the money that your capabilities that you're working with are just a little bit more restrictive. But I was looking at chat. I don't know if Milwaukee wants to hire us on as an intern to go through the CBA, or if Milwaukee just has an intern that can go through the CBA already. But I was like, there has to be something in here to deal with an injured player, because, and then when I was reading the CBI, I remembered that when Stephen A started doing the Kawhi Leonard takes there for a second, where he's like, the Clippers need to get Kawhi Leonard to retire because there's, and Towns with the 3, if you guys can hear the Madison Square Garden just erupt in the background, Knicks just take the lead now up 2. So again, a closeout game. Madison Square Garden hasn't seen the Knicks close out a playoff game in 25 years, chat. This is crazy. There's full adults that have never seen this happen. I guess I've never seen it happen, now that they say that. But, yeah, there is stuff where it's like, you know, if your player... Oh, Jesse, we can pick up where we left off. Whoa! Look at this. This is great. The disabled player exception. So I forget even where we're at in the CBA. Article... What are Roman numerals, chat? Article 7, Section C, subsection 1, I, A, B, 12, whatever. But there is stuff in here where, again, like you can get the player to full on retire, and then I think you get, I guess we could look that up here, real chat. Let's, because that's a quick one. Pause. We can, that's like one little subsection. We can read real fast. I just need to remember what page number it's on. The basketball-related incomes page, maybe? Oh, where was it at? Player retirements, existing contracts, player conduct, first-round picks, long-term injuries. Here it was, chat. Now, again, you think like Dame Lillard in a basketball... Oh, chat, I didn't even look at the page number. I think maybe 210, though. I'm going to doubt myself, so... Chad, is this... that might be the most like, oh, man, you actually are a degenerate NBA fan. You start knowing what page numbers different sections of the CBA are? That's crazy. Oh, no, that 210 is the insurance premium reimbursement. So insurance, again, you could think injury insurance, but I think that's... We were reading that. I think that's life insurance, so... yeah, you know, chat, we're not calling for desperate measures here for Milwaukee rebuilding this team. Start... You know, Keanu Reeves start digging up the basement. It's like, oh, the Milwaukee Bucks are taking for Cooper Flag. But, yeah, there is, of course. I mean, it's a workplace, so there are life insurance things that, you know, have to be. There's whole, like, 401k sections in here and all that stuff. Of course, again, you know, real job. Total benefits, total salaries. Again, you know, you think salary, NBA salary is a different thing. I mean, it definitely is, chat, but... And Rem goes blind again. Long-term injuries, 222. And I think that was the one. Disabled player exception. Oh, I guess we could look at that. Oh, that was the one we were going to look at after that. Reinstatement, non-aggregation, renegotiation. So that could be in the books as well, too, for Dame. But, yeah, I think we were looking at long-term injuries. So 222. And then we'll go to 232. After that, let's see here, chat. 238. Oh, okay. Close. Incomplete rosters. I think we're almost there. Yeah. 219. Here we are. Long-term injury. So this would be, long-term would be like actually career ending. So again, like when Stephen A was saying for player retirement, because that's what this would be in here as well, too. It says, blah, 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 blah. Anniversary of player has determined whether he suffered a career-ending injury. Upon agreement, the player is deemed to have suffered a career-ending injury by the physician, so they got to go in and meet with the doctor, of course. And then the severity that continue to play professional basketball would subject the player to, you know, all kinds of different stuff in here. I guess we could just search the word retirement in here as well too, chat. But maybe this is not the exact one, but either way, this is like the player's career would be over in this way, but due to injury versus just like saying, hey, could you retire? But I think this is maybe what Stephen A was invoking specifically here with that, because then for this one specifically, a player may not have a team may not apply to, oh wait, I think where are we reading this? This was after the expiration date, but yeah, here we go. A team may apply to the NBA to have a player's salary for the remaining salary cap year covered by the contract excluded from the team's salary beginning on the first anniversary date of regular season play-in, playoff, or play-off game, whichever the player played, provided blah, 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 blah. But yeah, you can get his salary off the books, you know, if he retires, if he's off the team. But again, Dame's still under contract, so I guess we could look up his contract here and see. And I don't know. Oh, chat. Here we go. like, is he going to want to retire? He's probably going to still want to come back and try to play basketball, though. If it gets him out of Milwaukee, chat, he might not necessarily be mad about that either as well, too. I think him and Giannis, I think they still, I mean, they like it. I don't think it's like him and Giannis don't get along, but Dame, obviously, not a huge fan of Milwaukee. So, yeah, so 25, 26. So this next year that he's hurt, he would be the 54 million. And then the year when he returns, he would be an expiring contract that year. But for this next year that he's hurt, essentially, there is some language in here for some, disabled player exceptions. So, subject to the rules set forth, a team may, in accordance with the rules set forth in this section, sign or acquire one replacement player to replace the player who, as a result of disabling injury or illness as defined by law, is unable to render playing services. An application for a disabled player exception in respect of a salary cap year, regardless of when disabling injury or illness occurred, may be made anytime from July 1st through January 15th of such salary cap year. So, yeah, essentially, they can apply for this and then they can start making moves this upcoming offseason to get that replacement player on the roster, essentially. But if a team wishes to sign a replacement player pursuant to this section, such replacement player's contract may be for one season and provide salary and unlikely bonuses for a salary cap year in which a player's signing totaling up to the lesser of 50% of the disabled player's salary of the then current salary cap year, or an equal amount of the non-taxpayer mid-level exception salary for such a salary cap year. So, I mean, you're not getting much, obviously, chat, but the non-taxpayer mid-level salary, is this going to be just the most random deep dive in the NBA? Because I think that number is in here, but wait, what are we looking for again? The MTML salary number for the NBA. Let's see if we can just Google this real quick and see if they give us a current one. Maybe Google AI is on this rookie scale. Maybe there's a couple of ways that this could be interpreted, chat. The average NBA salary is 10 million. Maybe. Okay, chat, we're in the weeds right now. Stay with us. Yikes, non-taxpayer. Mid-level salary. Okay, 12 million. So if it's like 12-ish million this year, they could potentially get a player for like the 12 to 13 million dollar range. Because again, it says lesser of the number. So like if the player that tore his Achilles was making $6 million a year, then you're only able to sign a $3 million a year player at that point. But since Dame Lillard is obviously, again, a little bit more highly valued contractually, and replacing him might be a little bit more difficult than just a $3 million player in that way, at least you get to use, a 13. So, at least they might have one. And again, it's not like an extra roster spot you can add to Dame Lillard, but at least you have one extra move piece you can make there. And then, is Kuzma still on the team? Sam sent me a post that was like reasons why Giannis needs to request a trade, and shout out to Kuzma, but one of them was just like, Kuzma's on the roster, so Giannis has got to go. It's time. It is what it is. And make no mistake, like, Sam is going to just continue to try to, and I think Sam always knows how to, not necessarily push our buttons, but he knows how to get us, excited in a way. Pause, chat. But, as an NBA fan, like, he just knows the right post to send us to be like, I just know, like, the news and the topics that he's thinking about and interested in. Because now it's starting to be like a run of Giannis trade market, Giannis to the Spurs, Giannis, just, what is happening. And there was, like, the minute, Wembanyama got hurt earlier in the year, and it's like, are the Spurs going to start tanking for Cooper Flag? Like, Sam just starts sending me every Spurs tanking for Cooper Flag. He's like, hey, I know you want Cooper Flag. The Spurs, they should start tanking for Cooper Flag. And now it's like, make no mistake, the next time Sam calls in, you guys watch. We can put odds on it. It's got to be minus right now. It's like minus 200 for Sam to be like, hey, Giannis to the Spurs? And then, chat. I mean, pause. I can't even contain myself with Giannis to the Spurs fantasies. It just is what it is. That might be our number one. I don't know if we have. Do we do a quick sports fantasy power rankings? I don't know if there's a different holiday or event that might be more appropriate for that. Valentine's Day, chat, little sports fantasy power ranking. Valentine's Day 2026. We'll run it back, but definitely. See, it's close. It's Giannis. It's either Giannis with the Spurs or Anthony Richardson developing into. And see, I don't. The problem is, it's sort of a. Obviously we could go full fantasy chat and just Anthony Richardson MVP, but you don't necessarily need to be an MVP to win the Super Bowl. If Anthony Richardson Jalen Hurts level is still, top 5 whatever quarterback in the league. So obviously, if he gets to that level, that's awesome as well too. But whatever the Super Bowl playoff level, Brock Purdy getting to the NFC Championship, Jared Goff, like whatever that threshold is for being a competitive playoff quarterback, like Anthony Richardson achieving that on the Colts, we should specify, because that's also going to be a part of it as well too. Like Anthony Richardson is still probably going to get some more opportunities, but how many more in Indianapolis? We'll just have to see, Chad. We're already bringing in Riley Leonard later in the draft. We couldn't draft like McCord or something. I don't know, Chad. Again, Riley Leonard, I guess, fits the scheme with the other quarterbacks on the roster, but I guess we'll have to wait a couple more years for Underwood to get in the draft. Michigan quarterback, number 1 overall prospect out of high school. But anyways, yeah, Giannis to the Spurs is going to be definitely the number 1 thing on our wish, just I think our sports wish list, just in general. Because again, Michigan won the national title a couple years ago in football, so we can definitely. Winning titles is always, I guess, going to be number 1 on the wish list. But that stuff aside. Again, like we just got the number 1 recruit as well too, the quarterback recruit. So Ohio State's loaded up. Like obviously, getting great recruiting classes is obviously way up there for wish list stuff. Again, Spurs 2 rookies of the year. Like, what are we gonna wish to win the lottery? Am I gonna put that? Like, I gotta be honest, chat. As much as I would love the Spurs to win the lottery, I almost don't want us to win the lottery to like make us have to work a little bit. Like, okay, again, we've. Gotten fortunate enough to be in a spot to, Wembanyama, number 1 overall pick, boom, snatch him right up. But Steph Castle with some of the fit stuff and like, okay, Atlanta, not that Steph Castle wouldn't be impactful in Atlanta, but it's like, okay, maybe Shea goes for what they're trying to build with this roster. And, just some of the fit stuff, like you're able to get Castle to San Antonio with the 4th overall pick. So again, we know this in drafting, chat. You can still get the best player in the draft with the 8th pick or wherever they're projected to be at right now. But I kind of want to see, like, okay, Brian Wright, let's get in your bag a little bit. Like, you have to be a couple spots back. Like, let's take the training wheels off. You don't get a lottery pick. You don't get a top 4 pick. You don't get a generational prospect. Or, again, Castle was still kind of a number 1 guy on a lot of people's boards. So you don't just get the training wheels of consensus best player in the draft back-to-back years. You build a team. Let's get some trades. Let's get a good pick in the draft. Let's put Brian Wright to the test a little bit. And I trust Brian Wright as well too. But, again, like Sam Presti took Jalen Williams 7th. So it's like, we got to have Brian Wright have his turn at the Sam Presti run of, he has value anywhere in the draft. He can make any trade. Get his name up there for GM rankings in the league, chat. This is just a way to help prove it that, like we're saying, solidify his spot in that role. But you still have AJ Green under contract next year. Non-guaranteed, but make no mistake, $2.3 million. Got to guarantee that thing right away, chat. Right away. I can't believe they haven't done that already. They probably just can't. Livingston, Jackson, I'm assuming, you'll guarantee those contracts. Is that a player option on Porter, Kevin Porter Jr.? It is, chat. So will Kevin Porter Jr. be like, I might see if I can go get a bigger payday. Back to Houston. Houston can't get Durant, so they're like, hey, we bring back Kevin Porter Jr.? I guess we'll just have to see what the market is. For some reason, I don't know, Kevin Porter Jr. in Miami? Maybe. Unfortunately, could Kevin Porter Jr. help them lose by 25 instead of... What did they end up losing by the other night, chat? I thought the game was like a 60-point game at one point. I'm doing the math. I'm like, wait, they're in the 70s and they're in like almost the 130s? Like, what is happening? Yeah. 83 to 138. Like, chat, this is like... These numbers are actually... Pause, too big. Hey, yo. What do we got here? Yeah, 55 is insane. The fact that OKC... 2 historic regular seasons at 64 and 68 wins for OKC and the Cavs. Boston as just the run it back, defending title. They still won 60 games. They still check all the boxes as a contending team. I think at this, like with Jokic, fighting as hard as they are to get past the Clippers, like them making a finals run would seem. I mean, and the Clippers could be the best team in the West, like outside of OKC. So, it could just be toughest opponent in round one as well too. But they were a team that's like, okay, could Jokic take a team to the finals? They seem a little bit. That seems like a little bit of a reach. LA actually making a finals run, still a little bit of a half a step away almost. And as Minnesota with the Edwards, with the peak of that team, it still feels like they're maybe not even a half step, just like a quarter step away from actually making a finals run. Still close. So maybe they, again, with as close as they are, it's like they could achieve that step within the playoffs. But it's like, okay, again, they're taking down the Lakers. Edwards has proven that every legend that he can face, he's able to win a playoff series against. And Luka was the one that got him last year, and he might take down Luka this year. So, he'd get revenge in that way, and there wouldn't necessarily be a matchup, that he would be in the shadow of in that type of way. But, you just, I guess, until you see it, what do you have the full 100% confidence in for those guys to be able to achieve? But the fact that the Cavs and the Thunder have both won playoff games by 50 points, it's like, why are we not overthinking this? Again, outside of the fact that Donovan Mitchell hasn't made a finals and Shea hasn't made a finals, but we go back to that. Let's go back to that Steph run real quick. And, is anybody, I guess Shea, of course, is the closest in terms of like who could be the highest achiever in the legacy rankings between the Cavs and the Thunder's roster right now. I think he is obviously the lead candidate for that. But what was the most dominant Warriors playoff win that first year? Because again, they got bounced kind of early in 20. Yeah, I mean, lost San Antonio in 2013, but in 2014 lost to the Clippers in the first round. And then when they went on to win the finals the next year, I thought, okay, let's go to the team, because I thought on Steph Curry's player page it would give us the margin of victory, but I think it'll do that if we go to the team page. And yeah, similar situation, Chad. 67 wins in the regular season because, they won 73 games the next year, and then because they, of course, get Kevin Durant the year after that. This is kind of by default the, quote-unquote worst version of the Warriors team. But, again, 67 wins. Like, you forget how historic that run was in the regular season. And it's the same sort of thing where, like, yeah, I guess they are the best team in the league the whole time, and then the playoff run, 4-0, 4-2, 4-1, and then, Cleveland had their injuries, of course, but still was able to get them 4-2 and not even play their necessarily cleanest version of basketball that they had played throughout the course of the playoffs. But, chat, we're still one page off. Go to the game log. At this point, we could have just calculated the math on all these matchups, but okay, Jesus, chat. I guess on this one it won't even give us. I thought on one of them we'd have a cheat code, but I guess not. But either way, I think it'll be pretty quick to eyeball and see if there's a 50-point margin of victory in here. And to be honest, like a lot of these games are pretty close. There's a 20-point win in Memphis, but I guess 15-point win in game one, 10-point win. Some double-digit wins in here. And then, of course, eventually, like we're saying, they just start running through the playoffs in the next couple of years, of course, with superior rosters, outside of the fact that then, they lose the finals. But, yeah, a 20-point win against Cleveland as well, too, in Game 4 of that series. And 2 overtime games to start that series as well. So, that was maybe even part of that run, trying to just put myself back in, young teenager Rem's perspective from the NBA from that time. It's like the Warriors, them as the newer sort of dominant team. And then, again, they're like winning these playoff games, good performances. Again, have some really good games in this Grizzlies series. Like even the clinching game here, like they're winning it by 13. Again, they're winning these games. You're watching them in real time going, there's a convincing manner to which they're accomplishing this stuff, but not the 50-point, just total, utter destroy the team. And I think the Memphis one's tough because Well, they did have Ja in that game but then Ja goes back and gets hurt in that series as well. And it's funny, like, thinking back on that series too, because, like, I know, me and Sam were kind of like, okay, Sam was kind of talking me into like, okay, the Grizzlies, again, they're not going to win this series, but they're going to be competitive in some of these games. And, they have that 50-point game right away. And you're like, oh, like, here are the Thunder. But I remember he had said at one point, like, there might be a moment where it's like a game 4 and it's, they stole one of the games early on in the season. So it's 2-1. And, maybe it's like, oh, is this series going to be 2-2 all of a sudden tied? And again, we never really got that moment. Like, they swept the Grizzlies, but they did have to make that comeback in, was it game 3 in Memphis? And that's the game where Ja got hurt. And then the next game, of course, the Thunder go out and dominated as well. And, Ja was kind of thinking along those lines. I don't know if Ja listens, but he was kind of saying like, hey, this series should have been 2-2 if I was playing. And, and Indiana wins it overtime, chat. Is that the series? Is Giannis done? Do we just have to take a moment of silence for Giannis in Milwaukee, chat? Oh, no. Oh, no. The offseason has started. We don't even... Like, Doc Rivers is the coach, I think, is just... I don't even know if people think about that anymore. I don't know if he's... Like, does Milwaukee even have a coach at this point? It's like, oh, yeah, it's Doc Rivers. Holy cow. But, we'll see how long. Milwaukee, chat, the offseason. Yikes. So, trade machine time. This will be great. We'll be laying in bed tonight. Giannis to the Spurs trade machine. Just, the nightly routine of falling asleep with the trade machine open on the phone. And, like, waking up the next morning and be like, wait a second. Why were you trying to trade that guy? Like, let's not get too crazy. But Giannis now, anything's on the table, chat. He's gone. He's gone. No longer in Milwaukee. It was a great run. Greatest Buck ever? I guess that becomes the question, chat. Greatest Buck ever. It's either, of course, him or Kareem, Lou Alcindor, whatever he was Kareem in Milwaukee at some point. He was obviously Lou Alcindor in UCLA, and then when he first got to Milwaukee. But I guess I don't know exactly when he made the name change. What year what year was the name change? What year was the 3-point line? What year was the merger? Some of those 70s dates, chat. Again, and Watergate. We just don't have them all quite lined up properly. But yeah, 2 crazy dominant performances, like we're saying, from those 1 seeds were awesome. And, Miami, again, tough luck to be on the other side of this 83 points. But I think them getting through the play-in, of course, being in the spot is not bad. And to be honest, chat, like, I kind of like what Hero showed this, I guess, except for today, 1 for 10. But Hero had some moments in the season where, I mean, there was, going back to the Dame Lillard thing, and, shout out to our guys, Simmons and Russillo, but, there were moments in the discourse of the trade, not just them, but everybody. It was, and I guess, Portland as well, too, like, was literally turning down that trade package of Tyler Hero whenever it was, and I guess, was it Hero and Hawkes and some of the stuff as well? So I guess we'd have to go back and look with the picks and stuff, what that trade package is becoming as well. But, like, with what Hero has shown, again, like, is he a number 1 guy, whatever, but I think he is a little in that Reeves role where there is a real possibility of him being that third type of guy on a title team. And is it similar for Reeves in a lot of ways, chat, but is there some defensive stuff as well too that might not be in his favor in terms of some, ultimate perfect lineup matchup versatility type stuff? But yeah, him being the lead guy for the end of the season. I mean, you just see on the season, chat, 47% from the field, 37% from the 3-point line is pretty good. So, I mean, unfortunately, his playoffs the last couple of times now have been not great after, 1 game, I guess, that year. I guess just in general, his playoffs, 41%, 32% from 3 is not great. So, Reeves has actually had a pretty good playoff career up until this point. He maybe has it. But then again, some of the responsibility stuff is different where, Hero's been playing with Bam and Jimmy, but Reeves was playing with LeBron and Davis, and now he's playing with Luka and LeBron. Like, life's probably even a little bit easier with those 2 guys than it is with Bam and Jimmy. And you think even the types of superstars that they are, like Bam and Jimmy is, of course, one of the best players in the league. And when Jimmy takes over, I mean, Jimmy in takeover mode is, Jimmy Buckets, chat. Like, that guy is absolutely deadly, of course. But his ability to drift in and out of games is just different than in a good way a lot of times as well too. But it's different than a guy like LeBron who just, when Reeves, like LeBron is just always going to be dominating the ball. And the only situation where LeBron wouldn't be is when you bring in a guy who could potentially be the next phase of the league when LeBron is in year 22, and that would be Luka Doncic. It's like, okay, a guy that's like maybe one of the 3 or 4 better offensive players at his stage of the career than LeBron. Again, a better all-around player. Like, obviously it was still LeBron, but just the offensive bucket getting, lead the offensive type stuff. It's like, okay, yeah, literally a historic level young player is the only other guy. And LeBron in year 23 is the only situation where we see like LeBron's like, okay, I'll go to the corner a couple of times a game and just let Luka do his thing. But, life is just easier for Reeves in a different type of way. And with the responsibility that you saw Hero take offensively without Jimmy Butler, and still I think to be able to produce some big moments in the regular, but on the flip side as well too, like we're saying, I don't think you necessarily blame him for having a poor performance this season from the shooting number standpoint, because of, again, we don't expect him to be like the number 1 guy in a playoff team. So if he had gone toe to toe and it's like, wait a second, now Hero's efficient and like going toe to toe with these superstars, then, obviously we're just unlocking a whole different level of what Tyler Hero's game could be. But I think what he showed in the regular season this year was really a confidence boost for a lot of the people with the Hero stock, and just is now like, okay, with another superstar, can we get him to a consistent level in the playoffs? And again, like missing that one season, there's been some injury stuff with him in the playoffs as well too. He hasn't necessarily been fully healthy for every playoff run as well. But yeah, I was really impressed with Tyler Hero at the end of the year. Of course, Bam continued to have bright spot games as well. Wiggins, I mean, that big 3 just played really well to get them even into the playoffs, which, again, we didn't think they were going to win over the Cavs. So, maybe you want to fight a little closer than a 50-point game. But hey, you get Jovic a 24-point game in the playoff. That's not bad. And Ware as well too, chat. Like, Ware had a really, really good rookie season and seems like a really solid building block. So Miami, I mean, of course, chat, just total wild card for the season, or for the offseason. I guess the real question would be, what kind of cap space are we working with here? Are we free agency wild card, bringing a trade as well too? Or again, you bring in Wiggins with the way trades work, like you have to bring back a lot of the cap in the same way. But active cap, chat, they are 18th in the league, so they're kind of in the middle. Yeah, they're not going to have a ton of cap space. Can we go into the next offseason here? 25-26. Let's see if it lets us look here. It's not, okay, projected cap space. It has Miami at, okay, less than 28 million. So their roster is pretty set then, numbers-wise going forward. So it would have to be trade stuff in a real way versus, trading and absorbing contracts, or like we were saying, signing a guy. You've got Rozier on a non-guaranteed $26 million, if I'm reading that correctly. Let's double check that. And Duncan Robinson with a $19 million player option. So, I don't know, chat. Duncan Robinson probably accepts that, but, is he going to get $20 million elsewhere? It would just be what teams have the money. I think Duncan Robinson is honestly still probably a $20 million player. Like, KCP got $22 million a year from the Magic. And I go, is KCP playing like a $22 million a year player? Debatable. But is Duncan Robinson, I guess KCP is a better player than Duncan Robinson in Denver, I think, for sure. The defensive stuff is a little bit more valuable if you're getting a full two-way version of KCP. But yeah, I guess next year, 25-26, he's a 26 mil. And fully guaranteed if team plays in the second round of the playoffs and Rozier plays 70 games in any of the following seasons. So, oh wait, if they make and they play. So they've made the second round, of course, in the last couple, but it didn't show it as guaranteed on the thing. So I guess it was with the and. Did he not get to 70 games in any of the seasons, chat? Oh no, poor Terry. Poor Terry. I don't know if that was his fault or the team's fault. Yeah, Chet, obviously those incentives, I think, get traded with you. Or is that incentive like only there with the team, and then once he gets traded, that incentive goes away? Because if he would have signed that contract in Charlotte, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, the 4-year, $96 million. Yeah. You see, veteran extension with the Charlotte Hornets. So I don't know if those incentives carry over into the same team. Charlotte had a second round incentive in there. No, that has to be a Heat. Incentives. Charlotte definitely is not handing out playoff incentives, even if they do think they're bringing in Terry Rozier as a veteran presence to the team, chat. But we actually got this is the anniversary, the 30th anniversary of Friday, chat. So I'm just thinking, like, we got to cue this movie up at some point. So let's take a quick break. Let me cue this movie up, and I guess, we can ramble about that movie. We can ramble about off-season stuff, the end of this game. We'll just keep the show alive, chat. But time for a game. We've been rewatching the draft again on Pluto because, again, the league had the Pacers game in a blackout because it just blackout restrictions. I mean, shout out to the local broadcast, but still stupid, chat. So Jahad Barron going to the Broncos? Tough pick, chat. Tough in terms of good. Like, he could be a really good player. And next to Surtain, that could be, just the physicality of that combo. And you think even the ball skill, pick six ability of that cornerback combo. Like, does that almost give you a little bit of, for some reason, chat, and I'm not perfect with historical comps, like, this team is a little bit before my time, and I'm not necessarily, like, super caught up on highlights to this team, but does it give you a little, if anybody in the chat can remember, a little bit of vibes of that 2000s Bucks team? So I know not necessarily the oldest team in NFL history, but that Rodney, I'm trying to remember who the other corner was on that team. I guess it kind of is a little of the former Broncos with, like, what did they have? Chris Harris and TJ Ward was a safety. Aqib Talib as the corner. And I think Barber and Aqib Talib played together as well, too. Obviously, Barber had a great career, but Talib wasn't on the team that won the Super Bowl in 2002. 2 receptions, 117 interception return yards. Rodney Barber, one of the, great interception return guys throughout the course of his career. And I know they had Dexter Jackson as the Super Bowl MVP, but I think he was a safety. Yeah, so Lynch and Dexter Jackson that's a safety combo, chat. Can't get much better than that. But Brian Kelly was the other corner, and you see him playing across from Rodney Barber. He's going to get the looks, but really capitalized that year. Obviously, the best year of his career. Just quick glance at the numbers. 8 interceptions that year. Somehow didn't make the Pro Bowl with 8 picks. So I guess I can't speak too highly on this Brian Kelly character. Or I guess not too highly, but I can't speak too familiarly. I can't speak with too much familiarity on Brian Kelly's career. But I'm thinking just, again, because Dexter Jackson, same thing, like, really good pick 6 type guy. Of course, just in that playoffs that year as well, too. The Super Bowl, I think, had a couple of. So just the ability of that team to be able to turn interceptions into touchdowns is maybe what I'm thinking of, versus maybe just the exact physicality of the cornerback combination. But either way, chat, NFL offseason, still a long ways to go to that, too. So I'm sure we'll circle back to the Broncos at some point. But yeah, let's take a quick break, and then we'll queue up Friday, get into the rest of these playoff games and more, chat. Right on the other side of this. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, get your movies queued up. At the time that we are, of course, live streaming this, Friday is streaming right now on Max and Netflix. So, I mean, Friday's so good, it just gets to be on both heavy hitter streaming services at one time. So I guess have your pick, chat, of how you want to follow along. Again, if you are watching live or on the rewatch, double check and see if it's out there. Check Tubi, depending on how far out in the future you're watching this. But Boston, Orlando underway as well too, chat. I forgot tonight was a 4-gamer. And we got that Clippers-Denver game as well too. So 24-21 Orlando, chat. Franz Wagner just keeps on cooking the Boston Celtics. He's got 7 points in the first quarter. Tatum with 8. But, yeah, let's get it started up here, chat. The movie is queued up, not starting yet. 3, 2, 1, let's go, chat. We hit play. We're at 1, 2, 3, 4 seconds, 5 seconds, 6 seconds. Okay, we're going, chat. So you guys can just follow along. Like I said, it'll be playing. We've got the games here as well, too, to follow along in the background. But Ice Cube's first, not first movie, but the first movie that Ice Cube, of course, wrote as well. So, I guess the research and the deep dives continue, of course, but that's the point, chat. That is the whole point. How many movies has Ice Cube himself actually written? Written, chat. But the only 2 that I can think of off the top of my head are Friday, of course, and I guess his, contributions to the Friday series. But All About the Benjamins as well, too, I believe. Didn't he write that one? So I guess we can double check here him as 12 writing credits. Okay, so I don't know if that's going to be like some music videos as well too in here, chat. But the Janky Promoters, 2009. Friday, or Ice Cube, get the pen back out. It's been a couple of years. So yeah, mostly the Fridays. Oh, the Players Club. How could I forget about the Players Club? Obviously, chat. Bernie Mac. I mean, do we need to start putting, everybody's talking about Coogler and MBJ, but maybe we need to start talking about Ice Cube and Bernie Mac, chat, as a writer-actor combo. More, obviously, MBJ maybe taking more main parts in the roles than Bernie Mac does. Shout out to will we be doing the Players watch along at some point, chat? I am not sure. We'll just have to see. But we'll have to see what the vibe and the air is in, I guess, 2028, the 30th anniversary of the Players Club. But I was like, wait a second. Do we have the Players Club queued up? Because I just saw the Bernie Mac thing on the screen. I was like, no. That's right. We're watching Friday. We're back, chat. But, yeah, so we got the Friday ones, All About the Benjamins, the Players Club. And then, of course, yeah, some music videos, of course. As a, not just some music videos, chat, but yeah, in terms of the movies, some music videos as well. So just in terms of a 3-movie run, if we just want to go, and for next Friday in there as well too, but Friday, the Players Club, and All About the Benjamins. So I mean, I know that maybe we think highly of maybe more highly of Ice Cube's filmography than a lot of people, chat. But I mean, his his acting filmography, but his writing, collection of movies as well too. Pretty good. The Janky Promoters. We might have to put this one on the list, chat. What do we got here? Mike Epps, Ice Cube, and Jeezy. Okay. I think maybe those 3 names have already kind of talked me into this, to be honest. I don't really know much what else more I need to know. 2 shady concert promoters get into hot water when their chance to book a superstar rapper goes awry. Chat, you hooked me at, I mean, you could have, what is this, chat? Get out of here. You could have you could have literally shortened this to, and tiptoe lightly here, chat, but just in terms of movie plots, you could have shortened this to Shady, Cube, Epps, and goes awry. And just, or like 2 shady, couple of shady people, something goes awry, and it's Cube and Mike Epps. And I'm like, okay, I'm probably in. That sounds like a good time. First Sunday, I was thinking about going through the Cat Williams run, chat, and just like, do I just need to put all the Cat Williams movies in the watch list? Because there was one that I was thinking of specifically, and then I think you know how our habits work here, chat, is we watch a movie with one actor and it's like, well, now we just got to, you know, have the run of movies with that actor. But I'm trying to think, which movie was I thinking of for Cat Williams specifically? Let me see. What was it, a voice part? I don't remember exactly why I can't remember. Norbit, shout out. But I'm not remembering. Oh, maybe it was just I was looking through the Friday series and then him and Friday After Next. And I was like, do I need to just go watch all the Cat Williams movies? Maybe that's what it was. But yeah, the writing debut and the director, of course. Again, speaking of music videos, iconic music video director into this world and like to actually make a first full-length movie. Ice Cube, I think, handpicked him personally to direct the movie. I forget exactly what the choice was, or if I just saw that he handpicked him just in general out of the field, or if he had picked him over. Was Cat Williams slated to direct, chat? I guess Cat Williams doesn't have director here on his tag, chat. And I mean, we know that Cat Williams, chat, excuse me, take two, test two. We know that chat, we'll have to workshop it. We'll be back. We'll just get in the lab. That'll be our version of the free throws, the Cat Williams impersonation. Do we watch Cat Williams or do we watch Dan Soder impersonate Cat Williams? Probably both. That clip of him on Kill Tony impersonating impersonating Dan Soder, impersonating Cat Williams. Always iconic. Always, a full watch in the feed when it sticks through. But what is this Cat Williams photo as well, too, chat? I know this is the first Friday rewatch, but Cat Williams, yo, chat. Do you think he directed this setup? He's like, oh man, I wish we could do the impersonation, chat. It'd be helpful for times like this. But the hair, the hat, the watch. Is he shirtless or does he have? No, he's got a tank top. It's like, did he just crop out a magazine photo here? What's going on, chat? Shout out Cat Williams. What do they call this filter? Is this like a sepia? Am I saying that right, chat? I forget. It's like one of those, iPhone filter type things. But going for the full, that's like full just, pause. But, headshot, but you know what we're talking about here, chat. The industry, the photos. That's like the full, just basic, like template number one, chat. Cat Williams just picked out. I was like, give me that one. I will do that design for that photo. But yeah, shout out. Either way, focusing on the Friday movie and the dad part in here, chat. I want to get the names. It's either, is it Weatherspoon or Weatherspoon? Which one? Or who am I thinking of, chat? That's is that his name? That's his name in what movie, chat? I should know that. Oh, Harlem Nights. Is that his name in Harlem Nights? I'm thinking of his character name from Harlem Nights. Shout out Keith David. What's his character name from that movie, chat? Because he's the dad in that movie as well too. So, or no, Boomerang, not Harlem Nights, Boomerang, chat. How could I mix? I mean, I guess I could mix those movies up because those are both Tubi MVPs for sure. But Boomerang, I don't know if we want to start making full Eddie Murphy takes here, but I mean, I think in terms of our Spotify Wrapped for Eddie Murphy movies, I think Boomerang is the number one most watch time right now, chat. It's close. But what's his name in that movie? Yeah, John. Oh, no, yeah, John Witherspoon is the actor, chat. So I guess I'm just mixing those two guys. Is he not? Why am I getting these guys mixed up, chat? I guess both because they're both iconic dads. Either way. But here, let's go back to Friday real quick. This is the least expert watch along that you'll find. But hey, it is what it is, chat. That means you also just get to rediscover the John Witherspoon / Keith David careers along with us, chat. It is Princess and the Frog. 2009 is the first movie that pops up for Keith David. Okay, I get maybe if we're just going maybe for the box office number, chat. I guess what movie were we on the Friday page? Are we stumbling down the rookie of the year? number one draft pick rabbit hole that we did earlier. And I guess Keith David just such a busy guy, Chad. Jesus. We're in like 2013. Keith David, take a break. What are we doing here? Holy cow. 95, Chad. Dead Presidents? Uh-oh. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. What movie were we looking at? I don't know, Chad. We're in the weeds at this point. The only Friday episode that I think has confused Keith David and John Witherspoon. But, yeah, either way, I did scroll past 21 Bridges there in the Keith David run, and feel like we need to add that one to the watch list as well, too, which I was trying to... Oh, yeah, there we go, Chad. Okay, yeah. I'm just thrown off by, I guess, whatever movie we were looking at. I don't know why. That's... Cancel me now, Chad. Cancel me now. But as we get back... So, yeah, anyway, point stands. All-time great TV dad. John Witherspoon. But I guess, however you want to say great dad. Because, like, you know, do you want the Witherspoon character from Boomerang to actually be your dad? You know? It's just a lot to try to control in certain types of moments. I'm not saying that, again, he's a bad dad. Like, I feel like in this movie, you know, he checks a lot of boxes, chat. Again, you know, maybe a little eccentric. Definitely, you know, a very open relationship between him and his kid. Like, I don't know, chat. DM us at the Rem and Sam pod. Did your dad ever, you know, open the door to just have a full conversation on the toilet with you? I feel like, you know, maybe he's like, it's like, okay, this 1-year-old is not going to remember this moment. Like, you know, there's a certain age where kids just kind of have like free range of, obviously, you know, yeah, are they going to be involved in every activity? Probably not, chat. But, you know, there's going to be like a certain sort of free range that you're just like, okay. I know. I remember like, there was like, wasn't there like a, not like controversy, but I feel like it was a sort of topic for a while back was like, you know, people like changing in front of their kids, like how, you know, again, chat, like, you know, but like how, you know, with like a super young kid. I remember like there was like, and it could just be one of those things where it's like, you know, you see like, again, get like one post in the algorithm and all of a sudden like your algorithm just becomes flooded. So I don't know if it's like, you know, if this was my 2017 or whatever year this was, or if it was actually on the internet just in general. But yeah, I remember, I just, again, remember seeing a run of topics about, so like, does it become that conversation with that where it's like, you know, at what age it's like, okay, if the kid wanders into the bathroom, then it's probably not going to be a traumatic ordeal. But that was never quite the extent of the relationship with our parents, chat. You know, again, healthy, awesome relationship growing up, but I can't necessarily say that it crossed over quite that personally. But either way, shout out Chris Tucker as well too, who of course has the run of Rush Hour is 94, and there's some, you know, like I think he's in a couple of different movies in 95. Well, he's also in Dead Presidents as well too. But I mean, that run, I mean, just basically the early Chris Tucker run is about as, I mean, Chris Tucker and Cube, honestly, just toe for toe, have one of the best, you know, and then obviously how, you know, Tucker's career plays out with him, you know, just not doing movies there. But, you know, the run that he had is about as impressive. And again, the rewatchability versus the actual quality, like the runtime that you're watching these Chris Tucker movies is about as much of any career for any actor that you're going to be throwing on. So I guess this has got the music videos in here as well too, chat. I think the Wikipedia page lays it out kind of nice because it just has all like 3 or 4 of the movies in that run just listed like back to back to back. And you're like, man, that's like, if I could just like watch these 4 movies in a row and just be fine. Yeah. So yeah, he's in House Party 3, chat, 94. Or sorry, Rush Hour's 98. I knew because I was looking at the anniversaries for it, so I knew it was a 4, but I forget it's late 90s instead of early 90s. But yeah, he goes Friday to Dead Presidents to Money Talks, chat, The Fifth Element, Jackie Brown, and then Rush Hour 1, 2, and 3, and then Silver Linings Playbook in 2012. So I mean, Chris Tucker's hit rate is about as good of a hit rate that you can get. And the Friday movie as well too is a weird, not a weird movie, but it's an interesting movie to think about in the concept of like a prestige-esque movie and just, I guess, like the legacy rankings for the movies. And as the third quarter winds down here as well, two Pistons Knicks, we should shout out 1 minute 45 seconds left. Mitchell Robinson with the lob dunk, now a 1 point game, 73-72 Pistons. I guess perfect timing chat because the Max chat shout out. It's going to give us some ad breaks, but I guess Netflix would as well too. So I guess with the subscriptions that we're paying for, either way. But I guess next time, chat, we're just pirating the movie. No ads that way. Shout out. But again, like the Rotten Tomatoes score, not that that would be everything, but this is not a movie that you would necessarily go to those type of things to try to validate the quality of this movie for. Again, it's just the amount of times that you watch this movie would speak to, I guess it is a 70. See, I doubted it there, chat. I thought it would be more in like the 50s because I think maybe the Metacritic, is a little bit lower for it, but 77 is honestly a higher on Rotten Tomatoes than I would have thought. Again, just for like the type of, goofy comedy that it is. But Quentin Tarantino also put this on his list of, and I don't know exactly what the qualifications of the list were. And again, Quentin Tarantino is not the, the end all be all, whatever. But yeah, obviously as a high level filmmaker, I think his opinion is, pretty valid when it comes to just the quality of some of these movies. So yeah, he had the top 20 movies since 1992. So a little bit more modern with it as well. But I like that he went that way with the list because they're timeless movies from however, but it is a little bit of the, the sports conversation where it's like 50 movies and 90s movies. And then you start getting into remake culture and all that different stuff. But is there a little bit of just difference in, technology, stylistically, rewatchability, all that different stuff that goes into it. But yeah, he had this list of movies. So again, it's not like every movie on here is going to be scored great critically and all that stuff. It's not necessarily the point, just to view through his lens of what he enjoys for movies. But Friday was a movie that was on that list. And again, a lot of other movies on the list. I mean, you got everything from Lost in Translation to The Matrix, Super Cop, chat, shout out. Another guy of Jackie Chan. We're going to be doing the Jackie Chan rewatch run here at some point as well too. What's the police movie? I forget the title of that one, chat, but that's another. Is it Police Story? The one that he's in, or like Cop movie or something like that. I forget. It'll be the first or second movie that Rush Hour is the iconic movie, I guess, for us anyways. But yeah, Police Story, chat, of course, is the other movie that I was thinking about. That is just like immediately rewatch it. But I guess Rush Hour 1, 2, and 3, of course. Speed's another movie kind of in this mix of like teetering on the critical acclaim and the rewatchability, but also, just the simple watch as well too. Like it's, obviously not, and not to say that a movie, and maybe, again, to go back to Sinners once more, chat, shout out Ryan Coogler. But, if you're comparing that to a movie like Oppenheimer or whatever, like if we're just comparing movie moments over the last couple of years, like, and, Nolan movies are kind of like this in general. Maybe this is why, if we're trying to compare the two directors, maybe why Coogler could actually have an advantage in the conversation is the way that Coogler lays out some of the stuff. The consumability of his themes are a little bit more easy to get the first time through on a watch than a guy like Nolan, where even some of the stuff that Coogler is addressing in the movie, like, Nolan's just a lot of times just like complex time themes, like here's a theory on how space-time bends and folds and how we can mess with it. Whereas Coogler is like, here's some real life stuff that we're going to address and some real topics I'm going to put in these stories. And still, again, I'm able to grasp some of the concepts that Coogler is. And again, not grasp the concept is not really the right word. Because again, like, I think some of the political stuff is obviously a little bit more, and maybe to, the good side of it, like a little bit more well known, if that's the right way to put it, than like the science stuff, if that makes sense. If hopefully you can try to get what we're saying there. But again, just the ability to like, okay, what is the story that the director is trying to tell, but then again, what is also the other themes that he's trying to push in the movie as well too. And again, it's not like Friday has those things necessarily in the movie, obviously, but if you go through the checklist of what a movie is. And like we're saying, you're getting Cube and Tucker, obviously, and maybe some goofier performances, but two really great and Tucker's an interesting guy. I've had some conversations with people with work, obviously, about like favorite actors, and like we're saying, Rush Hour's at the top of our list for all-time favorite movies. But like any of the Cube and Tucker movies are going to be at the top of the list, so it's going to make them at the top of the list for them as actors as well too. But you see you see Tucker go into some, start doing some more dramatic roles. And wasn't he in the new Air movie as well too? Do we still have him pulled up? Yeah, Chad. Howard White, does that count as a dramatic role? I think it does. But there is a range with Tucker as well too. So, and with Cube, so you're getting like two legitimately good actors in that lead role. The supporting cast for this movie, of course, is absolutely stacked all the way through. I mean, I think Nia Long's like the first name that pops to mind, Chad. But like we're saying, Witherspoon's in this movie. Bernie Mac is in this movie. Here, I don't want to leave anybody out, chat. Where's Friday at? Here in the list. There's just so many great cameo bit parts throughout. I mean, yeah, even Faison Love, DJ Pooh, chat, a co-writer of this movie, making a cameo as well. But yeah, Regina King, shout out. And I guess, not like a loaded cast in terms of the amount of people that show up in the movie. This is literally the list of everybody with a major part. But, just this whole collection of characters is a pretty insane group. And again, you're getting some of the guys earlier on, like Witherspoon is more like, you're not necessarily casting like, you're probably not shelving out like Denzel money for John Witherspoon necessarily, but, he's still an iconic bit part actor for what he's going for. And again, you're getting Cube and Tucker with some movie and with some prestige. So you're getting the fact that it's Cube earlier on in his writing career, and that's going to make the movie like, hey, do we want to take a chance on Cube as a writer? And Cube in a comedic role as well too is new at that time, and especially, again, you see where his career takes a turn into the comedic stuff. At this time, 95, I mean, we're off of a couple of albums and just the whole NWA run, and even the movies that he's been in, he's still, this is a hood movie as well, but, he's in the hood playing like a, that tough guy role, obviously the, like the darker side of the quote unquote, hood movies. And that was a part of the thing that he was trying to, and, I guess, we're not just trying to throw that term around, Chad, but just as a genre of film as well too, of what they are. I mean, it's what they were trying to go for as well too with this film, obviously bringing a different story to that. Because I mean, like we're saying, Cube himself was in a bunch of these movies, and they're iconic, great movies. I mean, for as heavy as some of the stories are, I mean, Boys in the Hood, chat, for as heavy as a movie like that can be, the rewatchability of that movie is obviously still probably up there as with Friday. But again, just the emotion obviously of a movie like Friday is totally different. That's what they were going for here. And they were also trying to capture, again, the hood story, just the fun. Hey, this is and I guess, again, like, just throwing these terms around loosely, chat, but this is sort of the everyday, like us having fun in our environment sort of type of setting. But through I remember reading through the lens of like through the style of the house party movies, like Cube kind of wanted the aesthetics and the feel of the movie to be in that style. And again, with it's not like he went out and got the film director for that movie to just like, hey, like, just go recreate your movie here with my story. But for the director to be able to get this movie like this, because, we're not just going to borrow all the rewatchables categories here while we rewatch this movie. But one of the categories that they do more recently now is like, what's a good sort of double feature watch with this movie, or, with whatever given movie that they're watching. And honestly, like House Party is a really good second watch with this. And maybe not every time you want like, hey, let me watch like the same type of movie back to back. Like maybe there's a differing thing you want to go for in certain cases. But again, like you could watch those two movies back to back, and stylistically there's a there's a cohesiveness that's going to be there through those two movies, and they're both, again, just that sort of light fun. There's just a lot of jokes, a lot of silly over the top performances. And again, to go back to Tucker as well too, I remember to the conversations I was having with people at work where because I was talking about, again, we were talking about favorite actors. Eddie Murphy was in the list as well too, and they were saying that they didn't necessarily gravitate towards some of the more, and again, you would say like eccentric-y, over-the-top type comedic actors, because Eddie Murphy's an interesting one where you go to some of the later performances as well too, and I mean, and especially now, there's like a subduedness with Murphy, of course, and you could like, I mean, I don't know if the new Beverly Hills Cop is like, hey, let's just like, what's the best sort of modern day Eddie Murphy performances? But how many of them are there as well too? I mean, he gets nominated for Dolomite, but some of those earlier Eddie Murphys, where I mean, he's awesome in those early movies, of course, like Beverly Hills Cop, but he is going for it in a way. And Tucker obviously is, he's going for it in like Rush Hour and Money Talks and Friday. Like his characters are really 10 out of 10 energy, but it never, like there can be a thing when a guy is doing that where obviously it feels like he's really cranking it up. And I don't want to necessarily like throw out a name, because then some guys like a guy like Farley could crank it up, but again, it's perfect because that's what he's able to do. Like Chris Tucker never, I guess, necessarily feels like he's acting outside of himself. It's almost a little like Westbrookian in a way, and I don't know if Westbrook's the perfect like athlete to actor comp for Chris Tucker, but and Westbrook, there were times when you're like, okay, it does feel like Westbrook's out of control, but then you have to remember like Westbrook is one of the most insane athletes that the league has ever seen, and he's just going to be playing at a speed that most guys just aren't going to be playing at. And again, Tucker just has, however you want to phrase it, like the 90s Tucker, especially that we're talking about, like had an energy to work with that just, not a lot of guys could bring to the table. I mean, Cube, I guess, on the other end is a perfect example where, and Cube, again, like later in his career, like, Cube in some of the Jump Street movies and later out, like he has more turned up comedic performances. Like, he's still going to be, he's still obviously trying to be like that quote unquote tough guy persona in Jump Street, but, really from like really kind of cranking up that corny tough guy persona that he is playing. I guess is corny the right term, but like it's an obvious comedic tough guy thing that he's going for in those movies. But there is like a subtle comedy that he has in this movie that does balance out Tucker really well as well too. And it's a movie about two they're just friends, they're not like related in this movie, right, chat? Are they cousins or something? Let's see here. Yeah, just his friend. Okay, I was gonna say I didn't think they were related, but just to double check. But yeah, you get two guys in a friend group. It makes sense that they're sort of differing qualities that sort of balance each other out. And maybe not to say that every friend group is like, hey, they're polar opposites of each other. And this, it's just all-time Bernie Mac stuff, chat. All-time Bernie Mac stuff. I know he has, Mr. 3000. I don't know if we start taking his, major roles as, again, his, like, trademark, his Apex Mountain. But he's just so funny in this movie and such dynamite in the couple of scenes that he pops in and out of, chat. I mean, really is, you want to just bring a guy up. I guess we're just stealing the whole pod now at this point. But, you just want to, bring a guy off the bench and just, it's not even he plays well, chat. It's the instant, like, oh man, he just hit like 4 threes right away. Like, there's a guy that can change the game, and then there's a guy that steps in and you're like, he is like, the takeover badge is activated like right away. Like every time Bernie Mac walked into a scene, his just takeover badge was absolutely activated. And just the preacher dynamic, it's so perfect, chat. He's great. I guess there honestly could be a full, I guess this is probably, there's going to be a lot of subconscious similarities probably between rewatchable categories and things we say, but there is probably a full of characters in this movie. Or like, do we want to do a side thing, spin-off, whatever? Like the spin-off Bernie Mac show of just him as the preacher character would be iconic, chat. And again, I think a lot of the people, does he have the most sort of mysterious life of anybody? Because again, you got a lot of friends and like Big Worm is the dealer. So you kind of like, I mean, we could have a whole Big Worm show, I guess, and see what he's up to. But like we kind of, I guess, know his deal in a way as a dealer. But obviously, I think we could. There's more to the Bernie Mac story. Endless possibilities, chat, to be able to dive into. But yeah, I mean, I guess for what I was saying for Tucker, for me, the energy that he was bringing in these early movies is perfect because, again, it's Tucker. Like we were saying with Wemby, and some of these guys with basketball players, it's awesome when a player knows how to play within him. He is playing within his own, not just abilities, but this is how he succeeds as a player. And Tucker never felt like he was reaching it, at least for me anyways. Again, the energy is 10 out of 10, but it's like Kobe. It's like, Phil Jackson has to be like, hey, Kobe, not everybody's going to be able to be as, motivated as you when it comes to some of these practices. Like, you have to just, you have to be, your 1 through 10 scale is a different 1 through 10 scale than other guys. Like, Tucker's energy 1 through 10 is just a different 1 through 10 than a lot of other people. And to me, he's still able to play within that energy incredibly well. And especially Rush Hour, like we're saying, we saw, not to say that Eddie Murphy's character in like Beverly Hills Cop and Chris Tucker's character in Rush Hour are the same character, but I think there's a lot of different ways that you could go with that character specifically. Like, it could be Tucker's performance in giving you this awesome high energy, really, turned up cop that's, again, like really going for it. But again, you got Jackie Chan, who's also playing a cop, and again, sort of giving you that same Ice Cube sort of subdued dynamic to balance out Tucker, which is maybe why these films that Tucker's in work so well, is because a lot of the sidekick not even sidekick, but like a lot of the co-star characters that he had with him, again, the chemistry was always there as well too. Like, I think him and Sheen in Money Talks is great chemistry specifically. So maybe that's a credit to Tucker. It's like, maybe you wouldn't think of him as a guy. So again, maybe it's that Westbrook type thing where, like, you wouldn't necessarily think of a Westbrook as could he play with any player in NBA history type guy. And there's going to be moments where like I honestly think, and again, I think I'm actually becoming more pro Westbrook with time. I don't think I've ever been like anti Westbrook in a big way, like maybe some people have, but in terms of the basketball stuff. But I guess maybe, again, I've been more sort of Westbrook neutral. Kind of like, yeah, Westbrook, obviously he's great, but I don't know if he would be like a first pick guy for, building a team, peak Westbrook. But as time goes on, as more people start to hate on Westbrook as well too, that can be a thing. Of course, Rim and Sam, counterculture leaders chat, leading the dialogue of, oh wait, PC's not plugged in, chat. Where'd the charger go? Uh-oh, we're dying here. Don't want to lose the live stream. Okay, buzzer beater chat. We should be good to go. Locked back in. Testing 1, 2, 3. Settings all good? Okay, yes, chat. We are cruising. But again, those are 3 different types of guys for sure, but they all definitely bring an opposite energy of Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan, Ice Cube and Charlie Sheen, chat. But either way, you put him with any of those co-stars and he's able to make a fantastic movie work and still give you those Chris Tucker, those even, whatever you want to say for how you view those performances, he's still able to give you those iconic Chris Tucker performances and still make it work next to whatever those co-stars are. So I think it's a credit to Chris Tucker, chat. Do we need to, as we cast our all-time movie, it's now, Gene Hackman and Chris Tucker. But hey, I think even those guys would make it work, chat. Debo, shout out Debo. Of course, one of the iconic just nicknames that have lived on. And, Debo Samuel, of course, is the first one that pops to mind. And I'm pretty sure that Debo Samuel's nickname is after Debo from this. I mean, I think it's a pretty safe guess, chat. Pretty, 2 pretty iconic Debos. But is that 1, 2? I think if I'm getting that, I guess we could just Google. I guess maybe it might even have it on this page as well too, but we could just look up Debo Samuel here real fast. Are there any even other Debos? There's a Pakistani Bangladeshian musician named Debo. Just Debo, chat. Shout out. But from the 30s to the 90s, lived a great life, I guess. Hopefully. But yeah, Deebo Samuel says early life. It's just going to give us some early football stats. Tyshawn Raquan Deebo Samuel Sr., second round pick. How is his personal life here? Let's go see chat. Samuel was given the nickname Deebo by his father after the character Deebo played by Tiny Lister from the 1995 film Friday, chat. So there we go. And to be honest, like, is Deebo Samuel his running style? And nickname kind of works because, I mean, I don't think Deebo from this movie is necessarily playing receiver, chat. If this Friday squad had to line up and play a football game, like, you know, speaking of Tucker, Tucker's probably either a receiver or a corner, and especially with his, you know, sort of, you know, his diva attitude, the right way to put it. But he definitely carries himself, I think, like a receiver in a lot of these movies. But the way Deebo runs, obviously, with the football, I think, is similar to if, you know, again, maybe Deebo wouldn't be a receiver, but if he ever, like, scooped up a fumble or strip sack or something and was just running, like, that's kind of how terrifying, obviously, Deebo Samuel is with the ball in his hands, paws. So that nickname definitely aged pretty well. Deebo Samuel, of course, is just a first-team Rem and Sam guy in general. And Bernie Mac just immediately, baby, we just praying. Bernie Mac, there's just two threes from the corner, chat, right there. Bang, bang, pause. Hey, yo, speaking of bang, bang, we need the Mike Breen sound effect literally for this Bernie Mac scene. The brick through the window, chat. It is what it is. You know what? Another movie I was just thinking too. I don't know why. Chat. I don't know if it's this scene specifically. Norm Macdonald maybe had a couple of jokes that would have fit perfectly with this scene, but the guy that just got cheated on. But I think Dirty Work would be a good double feature watch as well too for this. Maybe I just need an excuse to watch Dirty Work after this, but I guess, can we watch Dirty Work next to this Nuggets Clippers game a little bit later? What, that was also 90s. Is that a 90? I don't think that was a 95. I think that might have been, or that might have been early 2000s. What year was that, chat? Let's see. 1998? Is this the right one? Wow, chat. Dirty Work and Rush Hour in the same year? 98 might be in the lead now for best film year ever. I don't know. I think, you know, I think 94 is just a safe bet for any stat, you know, just any category year in general. But 98, chat. Couple of powerhouse films released that year, so it's gonna be fun to do those rewatches for sure. Make no mistake, the Dirty Work rewatch, unbelievable, chat. We might just skip the anniversary and get that one in the pipeline a little bit sooner. But yeah, of course, Tucker, again, iconic in this movie. Cube, iconic in this movie, as it sets off the run of comedy movies, chat. And what would be even like the drama run for Cube after this? Let's see here, chat. So yeah, Friday in 95. Can we just get like an actor thing here, chat? Three Kings in 98. Yeah, and then we're in the All About the Benjamins barbershop era. Then, of course, the Jump Streets Ride Along. And then, in a producer sort of role for the Straight Outta Compton Fist Fight, chat, in 2017. Fist Fight is the third most recent movie that he's acted in. Am I reading that right? Yeah, not necessarily like a ton of TV shows. I guess mostly cameo stuff for our guy Ice Cube. Except for the Are We There Yet show, I guess. But outside of that, not much else for TV. But I did see Fist Fight back when it dropped the year that I didn't see it in theaters. Maybe I didn't see it in 2017, but I saw it back around that time. And I mean, it's Cube, it's funny. Charlie Day, for sure. There's a big scene, of course, at the end where they're like singing the Big Sean, I don't give a, about you, and he's singing it with the kid, and it's kind of funny. Tracy Morgan's in this movie. That's right. Kumail, on paper sounds good, but I don't know if hasn't necessarily stuck in the rewatches like some of these. But yeah, again, for Cube, you go Boys in the Hood in 91, Higher Learning and Friday in 95, chat. And then did he drop Lethal Injection in 93? Okay, not quite 95. That was close, chat. I mean, kind of close, but almost one of the great years. Just that could have been, and I know, Kendrick got sort of the conversation back going for greatest rapper years with what he was able to accomplish in that 12-month run, 2024, but then carried over a little bit in 2025, beginning here with the Grammys, of course, and getting all the wins for that. And, starting his tour, the run's still continuing for our guy Kendrick. But you start going, I mean, you start looking at some of the runs in Eminem. I mean, you got to work like the 8 Mile appearance into the picture when you're talking about the best Eminem years that he's had. And not only that movie, just him being in a movie like that, but that movie being a successful movie, a good movie, the soundtrack for that movie being a successful soundtrack as well too. So, a lot of pieces for that year for that to be great. And, if Cube had Higher Learning, Friday, and an album like that in 95, I mean, it would have been, that might have been a lock for the best one, honestly. Because I know you got 50 Cent in 03 dropping an album and dating Vivica Fox. Like, as it, I think if there's a lot of years you'd want to trade places with, I think 03 50 Cent would be way up on the list. But, who was Cube dating in 95, chat? What was, you start digging up, go back to that personal life tab on Wikipedia. I don't know how much information it would give us. I'm sure we could find that pretty easily. But yeah, chat. And I mean, there's a lot of other categories that this movie is great in. But 5 minutes left, Pistons up by 5.5, Pistons up by 2 with a chance to extend the series. New York, I have a feeling that, I mean, can Brunson actually close this one out in front of the Knicks fans, chat? For once? Oh, the and one by our guy Mitchell Robinson had a couple of big baskets here around the rim. A couple of baskets as well, too, that have given him the lead, it seems like. So the Knicks fans go crazy. But Cube, for some reason, I'm trying to think. Cube, obviously a West Coast guy, but he's not a Knicks fan, is he? Is he all no, because he's the Lakers and all that stuff, right? Dodgers? But, now he's, of course, like competing with the NBA, so he's got the big three going. He's like sidelining his own events. But Cube is definitely, the problem is, you're in New York, you're at sideline for these games. You have to really enter a Nicholson, Spike Lee super fan level territory to be like, okay, yeah, we get it. Like, you are a fan, you're there every game. Like Nicholson's just a fan at the game. Like, he's also a celebrity sitting front row, but it's like, oh yeah, those are Nicholson's seats. And then, as well too, Chad, if we're talking about, just all-time people that you have a crush on in a movie, like Nia Long and Friday is not number one, like I think she's got to be the first. She's one of the, if you make the list and you're like, oh, well, okay, I forgot about that, but I guess maybe she's technically number one. Like, at least Nia Long is like the first name that you mention, like the safest pick. Like, again, you're doing album ranking. Is she the Illmatic of movie crushes? Where it's like, okay, Illmatic probably is the best album of all time, but maybe you want to say, or, Good Kid, Mad City, or however you want to say it. Like, maybe you get the rankings, you're like, okay, technically 1, 2, 3, but if you say Illmatic, if you say Good Kid, Mad City, if you say Ready to Die, if you say these as the first one, you're like, oh yeah, okay, makes sense. You've got honestly, like, Nia Long and Friday is top movie crushes. The girlfriend from Ferris Bueller's Day Off is the other one that's like, okay, what are just the first names that come to mind, chat? So maybe, again, just the gut reaction list is probably the list, but those are the first two that pop up. And again, it's subconsciously, I'm hesitant to say, chat. Am I going to start blurting out a name and your guys are like, wait a second, what is he talking about? But then we start getting into a different list as well too, where it's like, Margot Robbie from Wolf of Wall Street. Like, what kind? What list are we making here, chat? But and then there's I guess I was gonna say TV crushes as well too, but it would just be like Nia Long from Fresh Prince. I guess Okay, so Nia Long is obviously an all-time great celebrity crush, but yeah, just individual characters as well too, like the coolness factor in a movie. And I guess Cube is not. I mean, is he's obviously not. Maybe the number one boyfriend material from movie character power rankings, but I think in this movie, obviously if you're, I'm not saying she's necessarily debating this movie between him and Chris Tucker, but I think he's a good. Cube's obviously a good, solid, stable guy for sure. Maybe just because, Friday chat, Ice Cube getting a little loose with his friend Chris Tucker is not necessarily Ayo pause, but I think it's been known to happen a time or two. But yeah, honestly, those two might be in a tier of their own. Where is it like the Jokic and Giannis right now? By far the best two players in the league, like Neil Long and what's Chad? I'm a terrible person. See, what's her actor name? I hear her actor name. What's her real name? Shout out. It's Sloane in the movie, but I forget because I feel like, with all due respect, and maybe it's just more, again, my watching habits. Like, oh, Mia Sara chat. See, I knew that. But I feel like Nia Long has had a better filmography than Mia Sara. Let's see here, chat. Time Cop. Okay, for sure. Birds of Prey TV. Harley Quinn in the Birds of Prey TV series. 02 to 03. How did we miss this Harley Quinn piece of, TV that was released, chat? I can't believe it. But nothing major release-wise recently, it looks like. So we go back. Let's see here, chat. Nothing jumping off anyways in terms of the ratings. Time Cop's sort of just a iconic movie. Chat, a little Silence of the Lambs branding here. I don't know, Silence of the Lambs Take a Stranger Among Us, their poster. But let's see here, chat. And Alfred Hitchcock's Presents in 88. We're glitching here, chat. Let's see. Fair. So yeah, kind of just Ferris Bueller, chat, honestly. I don't know if we're putting Mia Sara's movie run at the top of the watch list, but definitely Ferris Bueller for sure. But let me think. See, yeah, chat. The problem is I feel like the rest of the list is like too adult. It's like the PG-13 movie crushes and then the celebrity movie crush, or the R-rated movie crush, because it's like you said, Margot Robbie from Wolf of Wall Street. Like I said, Boomerang. I guess Robin Givens and Halle Berry from Boomerang. You've got Sharon Stone. Chat, just pick a Sharon Stone movie, honestly. I guess, Queen Latifah probably too. Again, just pick a Queen Latifah movie. Queen Latifah in, what's the movie I'm thinking of, chat? What's the one? I just saw one, like, I was playing, I forget if it was Pluto or Paramount Plus, but I was just like playing a movie, and then the next movie that played was, and maybe it had Cube in it as well too. Maybe it's another Cube movie, but it was, it's Beauty Shop, chat. It's not Cube. I don't think Cube was Barbershop, obviously. Maybe he was in this one. Oh, spelling Queen and Beauty. Let's go Beauty Shop and see it. Maybe we do a Beauty Shop rewatch. 2005, chat. 20th anniversary of Beauty Shop. What day was this released? March 30th. Oh, chat. We'll catch it next time around. We'll bump it up the list. Was Cube involved in this one as well? No, that's right. Kevin Bacon was in this one. Not that those were the two guys we were getting confused, but just to remind us. Oh, yeah. Kevin Bacon was in this one. Chat, first time. I feel like this is like an iconic Queen Latifah movie as well, too. So we probably should have seen this one, but, Set It Off is definitely our most rewatched Queen Latifah movie. And then, Whoopi Goldberg. I don't know, who we want to start giving out for celebrity crush list. But, yeah, anyways. Nia Long, of course. way up there. Oh, Jalen Brunson, clutch player of the year, chat. He just got to that 75 game mark to even get in the awards, or a 65 game mark to even get in the awards category. But clutch rank this year, so yeah, first, second, or third basically in a lot of the clutch stat makes sense. I mean, you know, his usage, but that's a part of it. I mean, it's both how good he is as a player, the function of the team, but you know, we've seen him play a little bit more. Like, I mean, he's definitely developed into a higher usage player over the course of his career, chat. I mean, not just again as he's gotten better, but there is a version of it as well too where it feels like he's a little bit more point guardy, and then there's the version of him where you're like, yeah, Jalen Brunson's going to score 35 in a playoff game and just get buckets and go toe to toe with whoever is scoring on the other end. But yeah, to look up his usage here real quick. And yeah, you see last year, chat, it was even higher at 32%, but still 29% this year overall. So, I mean, and again, you know, his improvement from New York to Dallas as well, too. But that, and even, you know, last year a little bit, like, obviously they didn't have Towns. So, Towns alone is probably taking away from that just a little bit. But to bring in Towns and for the usage percentage to still be around 30 is still, you know, pretty crazy, chat. But is Brunson going to be, like, on the All-NBA teams and stuff this year? And I guess, did De'Aaron Fox win Clutch Player of the Year last year, or did Steph Curry? I forget exactly how that all worked out. I don't know why those are the two guys that were. Because I feel like De'Aaron Fox did win one, and then maybe Steph won one as well, too, chat. But, yeah, either way, shout out. Got Friday still kicking along in the background here, chat. But, yeah, what were the other characters here that we have to go here through real quick? Pause. Hey, yo. Hey, yo, hey, yo. So we mentioned Cube. We mentioned Tucker, Chris Long. And, I mean, I guess we could just continue to sing the praises of Mr. Witherspoon as well, too, chat. Tom Lister. Tom Lister, Apex Mountain for... Again, it might be, chat, just because of the... That's what... I was like, he was in something else, too. That's what he's in, chat. He's the prisoner that chucks the remote control out of the boat in The Dark Knight. And he's in The Fifth Element as well, too. We might have to rewatch The Fifth Element, chat. We haven't seen this movie in a hot minute. But Bruce Willis can be a little... Is Bruce Willis kind of like The Weeknd? Like, we should be watching more Bruce Willis movies than we are, but we just don't, chat. Like, we should be listening to The Weeknd. But yeah, Tattooed Prisoner from The Dark Knight is his Mount Rushmore of roles. And Winston as well, too. Tarantino movies, also a little bit like that. We don't necessarily rewatch Tarantino movies enough. But do we rewatch movies on Tarantino's top 20 list, chat? Friday? Most definitely. Most definitely. But, yeah, and just check the boombox behind him. There's so much just great, just like little stuff behind him. And just, you know, scattered throughout the movies. His chain, the watch, just so much great stuff that you're like, can I just take all this? And the Chris Tucker fit is still like, you know, it's not like a, would you say, I mean, not an iconic fit in the way of like an Axel Foley jacket, but it's still like a standout fit for the way the character is. And again, not just that name, Debo, but you also get the Bye Felicia thing in this as well too that has kind of lived on, you know, chat. The mini hoop in the back, chat. I mean, come on. I mean, this is the point where we're at, where we're like, how far back into the background can we start noticing things that are being popped out? But, oh, chat, 2 minutes left. Holy cow. 4-point game. Detroit, did they just score again? Oh, Cade. The dagger, chat. Is that the dagger? 101-95. New York, chat. They can't close a game out at home. It is what it is. Yikes. What is Brunson doing on the bench? Thibodeau, you take Brunson out. And you won't take him out at all throughout the course of a game, but you will with 2 minutes left. Yikes, Tibbs. I mean, maybe there's a foul trouble thing going on or something. I don't know. We got this on mute, but there should be no reason that Campaign is subbed in over Jalen Brunson at this section. I mean, Campaign's literally dribbling around right now. Tibbs, do you have a timeout? Just use it. Bridges in the corner for 3. He missed it. Oh, Cade with the rebound. A minute 13, or Harris, sorry. Now back out to Cade. That's going to be a killer possession. And I know the Ice Cube girlfriend in this movie is kind of tweaking, chat, but I mean, let's be honest. If Nia Long's hanging out, you're probably, just going to be a little suspicious. You're just going to be like, hey, I know Cube, again, seems like for the most part, he doesn't, for the way a guy could move in this movie around Nia Long, he definitely is restraining himself. I think more than most would. But, again, is he trustworthy? Is he not? I think he's acting trustworthy enough. So, and again, I think, are we saying for us, is Nia Long a top crush? It would be a tough choice to make, but I think he might have made the right choice, chat. So I guess spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Friday yet. But of all the movies we will rewatch / I guess, are there going to be any movies we watch for the first time? I guess if we get there, we'll cross that bridge when it happens, chat. But oh, chat, this is another iconic moment of what situation do you have? Chat, situation. I don't know what you want to label this, but the outdoor poop situation, chat. How many of us have been there? How many of us have actually had to take a dump in the bushes? And then you just happen to get caught? I mean, there's nothing you can do, chat. I mean, I guess there's only one thing you can do. Just keep, pause doing it. This is not a bad spot either, because you do have a layer of bushes. You've got the layer of bushes to take the dump in, and then you've got like a second layer of hedges to potentially protect. Oh, chat, this is bad. Now he's thrown the newspaper. Is he going to have to get this newspaper back, chat? It's a tough spot. Do I have to go back and grab the newspaper? But I've never actually, I guess I'm trying to think if there's been like a camping situation where that has happened. There's obviously been some campground, outdoor toilet, outdoor, but like, this is basically an outdoor toilet, like, the porta potty, porta john, toilet in the ground type situation. But I don't think I've ever just taken a straight dump in a bush or like behind a tree or anything like that. I mean, I think every guy's taken a leak behind a tree. I mean, that's not even like a get caught in a situation. That's just a, hey, it's been a couple weeks, like might as well, weather's nice. That's just a, hey, let's just get a change of environment here. But obviously, taking a dump is a bit of a level of desperation. So DMs are open, Chad. Rem and Sam on Instagram. Just let us know if you guys have, what's the story behind your in a bush, in a tree. Maybe it's not even in a bush. Maybe it's more desperate than that. Maybe it's I don't know. I guess in a trash can or something like that. What would even be the outdoor places that you could, potentially have to take an emergency situation, chat? And like we mentioned, the containedness of the cast, but kind of how contained this movie is as well too. Again, this is a movie. Another rewatchables category where they're like, could this be a TV show or whatever? I mean, there could be a TV show, I guess, where, I mean, this is like a 1 day movie. So I guess it would just be more of like, the whole, could you do like a whole week? Could the show just be the week where an episode, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday is like the last episode, or Saturday, I guess. Do you start the show on Saturday and go Saturday to Friday maybe? I don't know. Saturday's like episode 1, season 2, maybe you end on a Friday, and then you go Saturday. So you go Monday to Friday, then you go Saturday to Thursday, and then Sunday to Wednesday for season 3. I don't know if we're losing days. We're losing recipes. I don't know if we're doing the math wrong there at that point. But how contained a lot of this movie is too, to where, I mean, there's so much of it just taking place between Cube and Tucker on this porch, where, again, that element in itself, I mean, like, that's kind of sitcom-y in a way, where it's like, hey, we just got the one set, you know, hey, it's the friend's apartment, it's the office, it's the Fresh Prince living room. I guess, you know, you kind of move throughout the house between, I guess a lot of it is, you know, 1 to 2 sets. Cause I think, you know, you go even all the way back to like I Love Lucy, and it's a living room, kitchen. I guess there's even like a bedroom set as well too. You kind of can bounce back between the 3. You know, you end up obviously in some off locations every now and then, friend's apartment or whatever. But the honeymooners, the old honeymooners with Jackie Gleason, may be one of the best like one set things that is out there, because that is really contained to just the one apartment. And there's obviously if you guys have never, I mean, that's like, again, one season, there's like 32 episodes of that show. Jackie Gleason, obviously an icon. I think that show's pretty iconic as well. It's one of the great 30 episodes, just stretches of TV that has ever been put out. But, and, you know, has everything in that show necessarily aged well, but just some of the comedic moments are obviously, you know, Jackie Gleason just, you know, you want to talk about guys going for it. Jackie Gleason's really giving you a 10 out of 10 in that show. But they have like a bedroom that they'll wander into and throughout the apartment, but you never even actually go. I'm trying to think, is there maybe even one scene where they go in? You never do. Like, I think it's obviously him and his wife in the one apartment, and then they've got the friend as well too, Ed Norton, who, and the Knicks are down by 1 with 5 seconds left, chat, so lock in. But you've also got the friend, and you do go up to the friend's apartment. There's a couple different off locations you do find yourself ending up in. And again, chat, you know, for as eccentric as this dad might be, some just good advice, chat. I mean, maybe, you know, we're not getting here political with the weapon stuff and all that. Like, a lot of it is, you know, I mean, you know, ideally, I think the greatness of America is personal choice. Obviously, with safety to the greater society is, you know, the important balance. But there, you know, I think just in general, the ability to protect yourself, you know, with yourself, chat. Hey, yo, if that makes sense. But, you know, just use your hands, chat. Use your fists. You know, not walking around beating people up necessarily. Another thing that was, I guess, are the teens still doing that? Is that a game that's still popular? I forget what the game was called. Was it just called Knockout? It might have just been called Knockout, chat. It might not have been a clever title, but I think there was another title for it as well too. But where you just run up to somebody and punch him in the back of the head and try to knock him out. And that's a you know, trying to, you know, get him in the back of the head, chat. Pause when they're not looking is you know, that's just a dirty move, honestly. But I remember hearing people talk about that game. I guess we never witnessed or, you know, fortunately experienced that game. So I guess there's still time, chat. Again, if the kids are still doing it. But yeah, I forget what year that was. But there was a summer there where you're like, wait, what? What are the kids? What are you guys doing? You guys are playing Knockout? But yeah, I guess we're not endorsing Knockout. But, you know, just de-escalating a situation, chat. Not promoting violence. You know, speaking of Boys in the Hood as well too, similar moment from our guy Lawrence Fishburne, obviously in a, you know, much different stakes situation with Cuba Gooding Jr. and, you know, they go to grab the gun. He tries to tell him, you know, about the retaliation, all that stuff, and, you know, in the moment necessarily goes a little differently, even though of course, you know, Cuba Gooding Jr. goes back and doesn't necessarily participate with what they go through with. But yeah, shout out to John Witherspoon giving his son Ice Cube some good advice. And I think that's a pretty realistic TV dad-son combination. You know, Ice Cube and John Witherspoon, chat. Am I getting the first name right again on that? Yeah, chat. Shout out. legendary. He might be another one. We just have to do the run for our guy Witherspoon. I mean, I guess if we just have to bounce back and forth between Friday and Boomerang. Oh, we just got another excuse to watch Vampire in Brooklyn, I guess. One of the few Eddie Murphys that we haven't seen yet. But again, vampires, are hot right now. Eddie Murphy's always iconic in our rotation, and now it just confirms that it's got John Witherspoon in it. So Eddie Murphy, isn't Angela Bassett in this as well too, chat? I may honestly watch this tonight. Yeah, okay. It's locked in. I guess I keep forgetting Clippers Nuggets, which is probably the best of the playoffs. I guess outside of this one, which still 3-point game, 2.5 seconds left. All this time and only 2.5 seconds have run off the clock. But hey, that's the end of these playoff games, chat. These last 2 seconds, what's going to end first, Friday or this playoff game? We'll just have to see. But yeah, I guess as soon as NBA action is up, maybe we're keeping up with a lot of the games tonight. And since that Indiana game, those blackout restriction games are locked for like 3 or 4 days on League Pass. So it's not like we can watch that one in the morning as well too. But Celtics versus Magic looks like it's still a pretty close game as well too. 8 minutes left in the third quarter, and Celtics are only up by 2. So of course, the Magic have proved that they're on the verge of something special with that combination. You don't expect them to just go away. As the series continues, Boston could still definitely win this. But, that'll definitely be rewatched tomorrow. And then we've got the run of games tomorrow night. So who knows, chat? It may be a Vampire in Brooklyn this weekend sort of situation. But we'll have to see. Or we just see, the thing is, chat, I try not to just like wander in the studio and fire up the 2 TVs all the time. That's definitely not the most productive thing. Like I was saying, rewatching games and stuff, you'll throw a game on. One TV rule is fair. Like I was saying, get a game on in the background for sure. But is Vampire in Brooklyn going to make us break our daytime 2 TV rule? It is what it is. I get, see, chat, like even music. Like I don't even necessarily want to, it's like a phone. Like once I turn the turn the TV on and the game, there it is, chat. Game goes final. Pistons 106, New York 103. So make it one more, either, it's going to be, well, I guess it could be the next playoff series. But like we're saying, it's that Boston Celtics potential playoff series. And I don't think we're necessarily picking the Knicks to win that series. So we're not betting on them to be winning a closeout game. And that would have to be them winning a closeout game in game 6 as well, too, in MSG. So they could have to wait a whole nother year for the New York Knicks fans to see them actually win that game. And they just cut right to Nuggets Clippers, chat. 8 minutes to go in the first quarter. Let's get into the game. 12-6. Nuggets in the lead. So Jokic, and they're in Denver as well too. Jokic ready to play. And coach. And is he going to just give Jokic the headset, let him call the game while he's running around out there, subbing people in? We'll see if Kawhi Leonard is able to be back in his full, fantastic, awesome form. Because he was a little shooting performance not necessarily as clean in the last game. But at the end of the day, if Gordon's not standing under the basket, who knows, if that is the only thing that would have separated him from winning the game or not. But either way, chat. Jokic distracting us from Chris Tucker and Regina King, chat. Shout out. But and I guess is the one part that Chris Tucker kind of missed is the sort of charm. Not that he hasn't been charming in any of the movies, but has he gone for the full rom-com? Like maybe Chris Tucker in a rom-com. Is there a Chris Tucker rom-com that I'm not thinking of, chat, that we just need to add to the watch list instead? Because I was going to say, I don't think any of these would count. But the Meteor Man, he's uncredited in this. We have not seen the Meteor Man. Written, directed, and co-produced, and starring Robert Townsend. So really just the Bill Cosby, chat? James Earl Jones? I mean, I guess, is Stagcast the right way to say it? I think, in terms of the name value of 93, it's going to be some definite names. But yeah, the one sort of, hey, Chris Tucker acting across from a charming, hot actress chat. Like, I mean, could we just put, again, like Nia Long's in this movie, like, is it just him again, him and Nia Long in a rom-com, him and Sanaa Lathan? Like, do we just want to do the all-star cast from the 90s and 2000s and just, pair Chris Tucker up with them? Or some new breakout star? Like, I guess, Regina King in like a full role like that. Not breakout star, but not necessarily in that. Because like I feel like you would almost cast her more as like the Sanaa Lathan obviously is gonna be the love interest across from Chris Tucker, but then maybe we're like Regina King's her best friend. But again, she's best friend in this movie and in a couple movies as well too. So is that more kind of what you think? But again, she can still be like a sexy, charming, also have her own, love interest storyline going as well too in the movie. Like maybe she's even just, maybe she in the course of the movie like has a boyfriend already and like they're trying to work with like, again, if we're just like recasting, I guess we're going back and forth. We'll just say Sanaa Lathan and Nia Long, we'll just alternate. It'll be one or the other. We'll have to go into the auditions and see, who's able to capture the essence of the character more. But Chris Tucker in like a dinner scene with a lady chat, like, hey, yo, but, Chris Tucker, I'm not saying, like, how much do we want to see Chris Tucker in this rom-com? But, just, like, him being like, okay, he's flirting, he's spitting game, he's charming. Like, there's, like, a serious, funny aspect to him that, again, maybe he can still dial it up in the 10 out of 10 Chris Tucker way, but just to see him, spitting game in that kind of situation. Or, Chris Tucker bumps into this lady at a coffee shop or library or something. I don't know. I guess it could be, are we just remaking Brown Sugar with Chris Tucker in it? But, Chris Tucker as not, what kind of executive do we want to make Chris Tucker? Ayo. But, I think that would be the one. And I guess, like how dramatic of a role, like, do you want to cast him in? Like, have we seen Chris Tucker in a horror movie, like being chased around and fully screaming for help and like, the full, like, the full range of Chris Tucker acting. But again, I think we've seen him dabble enough in the dramatic to be like, you could cast him in those movies. Like, could Chris Tucker have been in Sinners? Like, obviously he's not old enough to do the Delroy Lindo part in 2025, but could he have been, could Chris Tucker have been Michael B. Jordan in Sinners? Is that the other one? Because I guess he's doing an action movie in Rush Hour, but he's doing action comedy. He's not doing, I guess, action adventure. Not that, Sinners is more action horror. But Michael B. Jordan is also, paired with Coogler and Creed, where he's like the boxing. I guess Chris Tucker could bulk up and do a boxing thing. So Chris Tucker in the sports movie? Yeah. Chris Tucker is like a quarterback. And I guess, Friday's more of a Cube movie. And I guess, we're just a lot of Chris Tucker talk here. But hey, either way, I feel like Cube is, especially like in these type of movies, like Cube is pretty, and I think like Friday for what it's going for, like Tucker is pretty perfect for the movie. I think Rush Hour is the one where, and maybe even Money Talks is a little more like, now we're in the bag for, you're a Chris Tucker fan for the real ones. But, again, like Michael B. Jordan's in the Marvel universe. He's in like Without Remorse, where he's got like Chris Tucker with a bulletproof vest and like a, I'm not a gun guy, chat, but like some kind of, assault military weapon, on the front, like full magazine clips, like that type of Chris Tucker. I don't know if we see, like, he gets pretty strapped up in Money Talks, I think. But again, not in the same sort of tough guy way necessarily. So again, are there full parts that, are we projecting a little bit with Chris Tucker? But again, I just think the capabilities he's shown to, like, we've seen an act. I mean, we've seen Kumail bulk up and be a Marvel superhero. So could Chris Tucker follow the Kumail Nanjiani? Could he just get the Kumail trainer in there? A couple of the, whatever Kumail's wink wink protein powder is, and just bulk up a little bit. Like, he could definitely do that. But I would actually, the hypothetical Chris Tucker rom-com is now really fascinating, because I would like to see what the chemistry is as well too with certain people. I mean, and the thing is, again, he maybe is not talking game in the way that like Taye Diggs is in some of these movies, but he is always, his characters are always so quick-witted. I mean, it's Chris Tucker as well too, but he's so quick-witted that that in those type of scenes, there's his ability to at least have banter is just going to be top notch. It's just, can we get the dialogue right, and then him improving, improving as well too. The right scenes is going to be key. But because, like, again, you get to see a guy like Eddie Murphy, and I don't know if Chris Tucker, like, I guess we'd have to go back and do the full, like, and if we're just talking about like the great black comedic actors, like, obviously there is a timeline from Eddie Murphy, and again, Eddie Murphy's a little LeBron-esque in that he's able to tap into all these decades. It's like Eddie Murphy in the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, like we're saying, even if, like, is Beverly Hills Cop 4 going to be a legacy movie for him? Probably not, but he's still had some big moments here in the 20-teens, and what was Dolomite, like 2017 maybe, and then re-emerging for a little bit there in 2024. But yeah, like, even him in Boomerang, like, got to have a chance to be that part, Chat, and maybe that's why I like Boomerang so much as well too for an Eddie Murphy movie. And again, just like rom-coms are so much fun to throw on, and you're also, like we're saying, getting Robin Givens and Halle Berry in that movie, and Chris Tucker, like, it's a stacked movie, so it's just a fun movie to watch in the background and just always be like, oh, there's just a iconic person there, iconic person there, iconic person there. But you even get to see him have a little bit of range and go into the, hey, he gets to be charming and have a scene with, like, the scene that he has with Robin Givens in that balcony area where they're, whatever function that is, I forget where the function, Chat, like, I forget what they're at, but when he's you're kind of hitting on me, and she's like, no, you'll know when I'm, making a move on you, like, that kind of scene. Like, Chris Tucker never, I'm trying to think, he never really had that type of scene. Ice Cube as well, but to be honest, like, I don't know, who do you guys think the better actor is? And again, like, better actor now or the higher upside actor, Ice Cube or Chris Tucker? And I think Ice Cube, like we're saying, are we doing the things that executives did before Friday came out, where when Friday before it was released, it was like, hey, how does Chris Tucker work in this comedic role? We're like, hey, how does Chris Tucker, or how does Ice Cube work in this role? Like, hey, how does Ice Cube work in these other roles? But again, like, he was able to do the dramatic roles in Boys in the Hood, and I guess, does say just like, okay, we saw his son be in Den of Thieves, so, like, Ice Cube could be in Den of Thieves, right? But again, his son has a different part in Den of Thieves as well too, where his son never is, like, with 50 Cent and Pablo Schreiber, like, shooting out with the cops. Like, he's the mastermind guy. He is the one handcuffed in the back of the cop car, makes the escape while they're all fighting it out in the streets, and then, of course, gets away to set up the second movie. Oh, how can we forget about Gerard Butler as well too in the shootout? But never gets, like, strapped up in that kind of way in the movie. But I mean, again, with Ice Cube's persona, and with him running around, with guns and stuff and all about the Benjamins, like, I mean, we could definitely see him be like, okay, now you just have to scowl more, and there's going to be, less jokes, I guess, in this movie. But he could definitely have had a whole action career as well too, Chet, and I guess that's not, like, the takeaway from Friday. But again, Friday is like, okay, Cube, here, I want to show obviously a different side of life in this setting, but then, of course, like we see in the rest of his career, how he pivots into some of the family, the comedy, the more, do you want to say more accessible stories? Because again, like, I feel like a movie like Boys in the Hood, how do you want to start putting that on the quote unquote accessibility rankings? But again, once it gets in your life, just it's in the rotation always. And I feel like you always end up seeing that movie. It's like, okay, I see that. Saw that movie when you were like 9. You're like, okay, should you be watching those type of movies? But it's like, hey, they get thrown on. And what are even the rules for that type of stuff? Who knows, chat? But again, you see Cube take this turn down the more comedic route, and he definitely could have, again, been like there could have been a whole action movie run in there for him as well. Is this the Dominic Toretto or not Vin Diesel, chat? Dominic Toretto, the Vin Diesel franchise? It is. So he did have a run in this franchise. I can't believe I've never seen is this Xander Cage? Is that his name? Yeah, Xander Cage. I can't believe I've never seen the Xander Cage franchise, but put it on the watch list, chat. It's got Ice Cube as an executive producer. Wait, is he not acting in it? Oh, he is an actor in it. Okay, so we will. And which one is this? Triple X number 2? I guess Ice Cube in a Triple X movie is also something that we've never seen, chat. But hey, yo. If this technically counts as that. So yeah, he did. And I guess Ride Along as well too. Like we're saying, he's playing a cop, playing a cop in 21 Jump Street. So the idea that Ride Along now is like a serious action movie instead of a buddy cop action film, like it's not a long walk for Ice Cube to just change the soundtrack. And I think, again, Ice Cube, I think it works. Like Fist Fight, chat, he's pretty tough in Fist Fight. Like I feel like his ability to do the action stuff is definitely there. So I feel like you could see Chris Tucker in that. But like we're saying, Chris Tucker, like if you had to draft one of them to win an Oscar, I feel like I don't know though. Like Cube in his roles could have won an Oscar. But maybe Tucker, and like you're not going to win an Oscar for a rom-com. It'd have to be a different type of rom-com, chat. But maybe his ability to win an Oscar in like the EGOT, maybe Chris Tucker could win an EGOT versus Cube, maybe. But then again, Cube is a rapper, so like I didn't put Cube on Broadway, and he might be like Cube maybe could win the EGOT for the writer part of it, because like I was saying, he wrote. I mean, you're writing all about the Benjamin's Friday and Players Club, like that's awards level stuff, right, chat? We're basically saying that. I mean, if you write Friday, you're basically gonna win an Oscar for writing at some point in your career, I would assume. So I guess I don't know what the exact right conversation is, but yeah, just obviously they're both great comedic actors, but I think capable of just so much more in their careers as well too. So it's not like a great like what if they should have done more, because again, all these movies that they've done, like their careers are so iconic that I'm not trading their careers for anything. But if AI really continues to take off, chat, and we can cast Chris Tucker in a rom-com movie like that, and then Chris Tucker and who else, chat, if we can start dipping into history to pair him up with people, we can really start getting creative with the direction we want to go in. But Chris Tucker and Marilyn Monroe, chat, like how wild do we want to get? But I guess he does get into a shootout again. Like we're saying, he gets into a shootout in this and all 3 movies that we've mentioned for that Chris Tucker Hall of Fame run of, and I guess Dead Presidents as well too. It's not necessarily without. That's another movie, chat, that I need to rewatch as well. See, the problem is I just get stuck on these Pluto and these Tubi movies, and now all of a sudden I've rewatched Friday and Rush Hour 17 times. But what do you do, chat? It is what it is. I feel like I've seen Money Talks like 7 times this year already. Have 3 times with the sound on, 4 times with the sound off, but either way, it just keeps running in the background. So sometimes you just get stuck. It's, albums, movies, all this stuff, chat. You just get stuck on it, and it just keeps sticking in the rotation. But should we do a quick box score update as well, too, for that game? We might as well check into these, since we do have a final now. So let's see here, chat. Cade tonight in that range with 24 and 8 as well too. So just, checking off those boxes that he's been casually hitting from a stats perspective. So yeah, I think it is interesting that, again, he is in like that Like that, the LeBron 28, 8, and 8, like 24, 8, and 8. You say it's an almost LeBron, and still like the 8 and 8 aspect, like is the point of the stat really more to encompass the all around aspect of the game, or the individual statistical achievements that he's marking? It's obviously a little bit of both, but it is also that last little bit of separation between, again, like how we would probably view a 24-point a game score and a 20-point a game score. And again, it's a little bit like Jokic for his career. He's kind of been, and I think this year, obviously, his scoring took a step up to where he was more in every, I think he was like 29 a game this year, every night in that 30-point range, where maybe, foot off the gas a little bit more for throughout the last couple of years. He kind of is in a, 25, 10, and 12, and again, he's even up a range in the assists and rebounds to where he's crossed over into that triple-double threshold as well. But, and the Pistons as a team, they'll need to continue to elevate the roster around Cade. Like if they had just one more scorer with the way that they've gone toe-to-toe and even, gotten some wins here against the Knicks, then maybe they're even in a better position to steal this series. But again, Cade himself, like if he as a scorer was in that 24 point to 28 a game range, and now, like we're saying, he is actually putting up LeBron level numbers, and then, if he's having the LeBron level, like you put LeBron on this Pistons team, like, again, are we saying Cade peak LeBron? Like that's crazy, Chad. That's obviously crazy talk. But just looking at some raw stats, and I guess stats as well too these days, it's different. Like even LeBron's, and again, it's a credit to LeBron, but you look at even LeBron's numbers from now and back then, and you go, okay, I guess still even LeBron back then I would still probably take, but I guess LeBron hasn't really dipped off too much as well too, so it is all a credit to LeBron. And Boston pulled away there at the end of that third quarter. Man, they have a 21-point lead now on Orlando, because I think there was 5 or 7 minutes or whatever when we last really paid attention to that, and it was a 1-point game. So what a great run there by Boston to get a lead, and I think in a potential spot to close out the series, right? I guess it doesn't have the score here on that, but I think it's a good numbers way to showcase what Cade, and if Cade, again, is a 24, 8, and 8 guy, but maybe a little bit more efficient as well too. Again, 1 for 4 from 3, 6 for 7. Games like this, maybe the efficiency is not going to be there, but if he is in that 24, 8, and 8 range with another elite score as well too, you get a Sar with 22 tonight and Tobias with a pretty efficient 17, and again, you get the win. So that is enough for tonight. Again, we're talking about more big picture of them in the series, them making a run, the levels that you want to try to achieve with a guy like Cade Cunningham. But if it does show you as well too that he is one step away, but in that range of becoming that 28 and 8 guy, and just, oh man, he can really impact a game in all of these different ways. The playmaking, and like we were saying, seeing in this series as well too, the defense and the way he was able to fit into these lineups athletically is pretty special as well. So you really love to see that. Oh, chat! Debo. Uh-oh. Did he get him, chat? Did he get him? You hate to see a gunshot scene goes black, and especially when Ice Cube's in the movie. But hopefully maybe things turned out a little bit different this time. Uh-oh, chat. That was a close call. Yeah, you see the scowl? I mean, chat, you definitely put him in like a bank robbery scene as well too. The problem is I'm like, and his son obviously looks like him so much that it's like I keep thinking Ice Cube was in that movie, but in a way he was. So yeah, just old school, chat. Fight him. Oh, and chat there. Well, I guess yikes, we'll keep moving. But we were thinking of fights for something that we were going to talk about earlier, not necessarily just this scene. But what are the great, I'm trying to think, the great mismatched fight scenes in movies? There's this one, and another one that comes to mind as well too, chat, is you've got, I forget what's the actor's name from Princess Bride, but you've got Wesley from The Princess Bride fights Andre the Giant. What's his name, chat? Is it Carrie Ewers? I'm close enough, chat. It's either Carl Ellers or Carrie. No, Carl Ellers was like a lineman for the Vikings. So I think it might be Carol Ewers. But you've got the Man in Black obviously fighting Andre the Giant, but that guy is, and I forget, does he have the Dread Pirate Roberts. The Dread Pirate Roberts obviously has like actual fighting training versus, Ice Cube, just kind of a guy on the streets. I mean, gets himself in a tough spot for sure. Slammed on a hood of a car in a chokehold is not ideal, chat. And get up, chat. His dad giving him the Joe Mazzulla. Pause. Joe Mazzulla, yelling at Tatum. John Witherspoon yelling at Ice Cube. Get up, chat. So now this movie, I forgot that, well, not forgot, but, it takes the Training Day turn at the end. Now all of a sudden we've got Debo in the neighborhood. Oh, chat, but you can't withstand a brick. I mean, Debo does low key. He just eats that, pause, but eats that brick. He withstands a brick to the face, a trash can to the head, and then multiple kicks as well too. He's still not knocked out. Debo got to be one of the hardest takedowns. Pause. One of the most difficult. One of the most, damage, I guess, ratings. Chat, what do they call it? Health bar? Debo's health bar is about as loaded as any health bar that we've seen. Because, again, you think that brick would be able to take him in. I mean, Debo is basically Bane in this movie. So I guess that makes Ice Cube Batman. Ice Cube could have played Batman, though. Maybe. I don't know. What, is it a remake of the comedic Adam West version? Or is it a serious version? I think it could, like we're saying with Cube, straddle the line either way. But man down, chat. Cube walks away the winner. Shout out. At least not a gunshot. Again, showcasing a different side of life, chat. John Witherspoon, the lessons taught, making a difference, chat. John Witherspoon, I mean, there's a lot of, a lot of things that we can copy in our lives from him. And I don't know if he necessarily taught his son the technique as well, too. But definitely proud of the way that he handled himself in this moment, as he would be. Again, the odds definitely against him in that fight. So I know that he had to WWE style use some obstacles, some objects, some props, I think is the word we were looking for. He had to use some props. But it kind of goes with the territory. And to be honest, Cube, I mean, just a brick in general, though, you get hit with the brick, like, you're going to be busted up. Cube is just recovering from being unconscious there almost, so he maybe is not getting full strength on that throw, but regardless, hits him. I mean, chat, I have a headache just thinking about it, honestly. Like, I know that you start getting into the point, like, every cartoon in which some guy fell off a cliff, like, oh, chat, he'd be dead. But still, pretty aggressive. The trash can is also pretty aggressive as well, too. I guess I'm not saying I would love to hit somebody with a chair or something, but just, the chair especially. I think that's different than like a fight. It's like, I guess I don't want to hit somebody with a chair. I want to actually I want the full WWE. Maybe I just want to be in the WWE chat for a day. But the hit somebody with a chair and then have it perfectly break apart. I would like to have that. So I guess, over the back, like maybe not. So it's, we're not talking permanent damage. Like I'm not a violent person, chat. I'm not sure. Well, in terms of a street fight we're talking about, but I'm not like trying to take somebody out too much, but I would like to, break a wooden chair over somebody's back at some point. So whoa. But I guess, again, we're talking in a street fight, or a WWE setting. Again, could be, real stakes or not. But again, back at the house, front in the neighborhood. So Cube, I feel like, I don't know what becomes easier or more difficult. We'll have to have Rosillo call in and have him talk about his experience writing a screenplay. But the idea of writing a screenplay, like, okay, and I guess was Cube like I guess, he probably knows he's going to be working with a limited budget. So the idea of limiting your budget cost by sets and all that stuff, probably in the back of his mind anyways. But the idea of, oh, okay, you're making a movie in a confined space, or a movie where you're just like, just make a movie. Hey, just start from nothing and think of something. And you're like, okay, now all of a sudden, if it's the Russo brothers, it's like now all of a sudden we're in, Macau for a sixth time. Let's go to Macau, to Paris, to Tokyo, back to Shanghai, and now we'll wrap this thing up in New Orleans. But, and, just, you may be limited with your capabilities to tell a story, but it's like, oh, this is the pacing at which the movie works is brilliant as well, too. Oh, so Chris Tucker breaking the fourth wall. Nobody can do it better than Chris Tucker. Chat, pause. But great way to end the movie as well, too. So, iconic stuff, chat. 1995, 30 years, all these years later, and we can still just, randomly queue it up on a Tuesday night during some playoff games and still enjoy it as much as some iconic NBA performances, chat. Cade, Brunson, Jokic, Giannis, Tatum, and Ice Cube and Chris Tucker to pretty much, I don't know if we can call that a standard Tuesday night on the Rim and Sam pod, but it's not far off, chat. It's not far off. So there we have it. You guys can subscribe. We got Franz with a 25 and 4 tonight. Wendell Carter, a double-double. Paolo, 18 and 7. And just to see what Giannis did for his last game as a Milwaukee Buck, chat. Giannis trade machine. Next episode, 20 points, 20 rebounds, chat. Oh, man. Just all-time iconic Giannis stuff. So Gary Trent Jr., the back-to-back Gary Trent games, and you still lose? Oh, chat, the Bucks are in trouble. Yikes. Dame is injured, and Gary Trent's playing well? Come on, chat. But 30, 20, and 13? I know Jokic just has the potential to, one, not only just play another series, but he's going to be playing more playoff games as well, too, just maybe by the virtue of that series going longer. So maybe it only ends up being a couple more playoff games. And now, unfortunately for Giannis as well, too, just Giannis being a major impact player in the playoffs. We haven't seen him play two playoff series since the 2021-22 playoffs. And, of course, he was awesome that year. And if I'm not mistaken, he only played 12 games in that series, or in that playoffs, because he got hurt in that playoffs as well, too. Right? Let me see here, chat. Let's compare this to the rest of the team here real fast. Oh, no, they did just play the 12 games in the playoffs. So, yeah, it was just the next year when he got the 3 playoff games. I guess, obviously, he got hurt in that one. I just didn't know if he got hurt in the other playoffs as well, too. Not, missed the next season type hurt like we are seeing with Dame. But, again, he just had nicks and bruises throughout the last couple of playoffs. But that would have been the Grant Williams game. So, ever since Grant Williams ended Giannis in that Game 7, he hasn't been the same, chat. The Bucks haven't been the same, of course. So, one of the great retrospectives, because, the Celtics end up losing that finals as well, too. So, Giannis versus Curry is maybe just a much more interesting finals. And then, Giannis just being in a second finals as well, too. Just that would be one more finals than Jokic. And I know Jokic might have the MVPs and some of the other stuff, but you're like, hey, Giannis has been in 2 finals. But 33 and 14, chat. I know, again, he got hurt in this other playoffs, but we're talking about, and you go even back here to the last couple of playoffs, we're talking 26 and 13 in 9 games in 1920, but 30 points and 13 rebounds that entire playoff run the year they won the finals. Again, those next playoffs, 31 and 14, and then almost a 34 and 14 and 5. And again, 5 and 6 assists as well, too. Each of these playoffs. This is crazy. I guess even with this 23 a gamer in here, in, again, those 3 games, he still is in his last 40 playoff games, 30 points a game, 13 rebounds, and 5.5 assists. Giannis is just incredible, people. I hope that he looks good in a Spurs jersey. Oh, man. Giannis and Wemby would be insane. It would be insane. The fantasizing, chat. It's going to happen. It's already happening. It's been happening today on the pod. So, yeah, I guess, the Giannis propaganda starts. If the Rem and Sam pod can get just any sway, the only reason we want sway, chat, is just to, sway, call in, please. But, sway in terms of the conversation would be just to start making stories up and just trying to secretly, like, oh, Giannis, you should start going to the Spurs. If we could just start, like, implanting those stories in the culture. And I did see a report that said, the report basically said, and I'm paraphrasing, the report said, make no mistake, the Spurs will call for Giannis. So, again, we'll see what the offers are. We'll see if something's able to work out. But the conversations will be had, chat. There's a lot of deals that need to be struck right now. And I don't know where Giannis to the Spurs actually ranks in those. But in terms of basketball deals, it is definitely way, way up there, chat. I mean, 60% from the field is nuts, chat. We got to get this guy with Wemby before his prime runs out, chat. Got to get this guy to another finals. Giannis, Wemby, the chance to, Tim Duncan, a career like, Tim Duncan to David Robinson, get, the way he was able to get David Robinson his ring. Again, Giannis has his ring, a historic ring with the way he was able to play. But just to help elevate him as well, too. And then for Wemby to elevate his status, I mean, I think it'd be beneficial for both guys, chat. Jokic this year in the playoffs is, chat, 28, 13, and 10, casually. Also 2.5 steals almost a game. So quick hands from our guy Jokic, and leading the playoff in minutes, 54% from the field as well. And again, his playoff scoring he's always stepped it up a level compared to the regular season. And this is even those early couple of playoffs without Murray and some of the injuries in the team not being fully formed. But his last, 51 playoff games. So, shout out to Jokic as well, too, for even playing a couple more playoff games over the course of the last couple of years. I guess, a little bit reversed. Again, Jokic earlier in the decade, some injuries with his teammates. Giannis later in the decade, injuries, or, later over the last couple of seasons, injuries with himself and the team not necessarily being in the right spot. But 29, 13, and 8, and 54% from the field. See, Chet, it's not too far off. It's not too far off. Again, Jokic has the assisty thing and the 3-point percentage as well, too, to go with it. So, again, you're probably going to lean Jokic at the end of the day. But it's close, chat. It's close. And like we're saying, Giannis with Wemby could definitely elevate himself back up into the legacy rankings. Absolutely. But Halliburton with 26 still hasn't quite found the 3-point consistency yet in the playoffs. But, they're going to be a fun matchup for the Pacers, or for the Cavs in the next round as well, too. And, I don't know if Pacers-Knicks, if there's a difference, especially for Cleveland. I think Cleveland is probably in a good spot to win both those series either way. But I think that is a fun matchup in the East to get the series to go there. Pacers versus Celtics is fun, and it's a rematch of the playoffs last year, and we get all those storylines. But Celtics, Knicks, I think both of those teams going into the season were obviously eyeing each other. The Cavs were, obviously have emerged as the number one team. But again, going in, just having Towns and Brunson, we're kind of like, okay, the Knicks are here, and they're going to be a competitive team. And again, with Boston being the defending title, it's just the rest of the team in the East, the teams in the East were looking at Boston as the team to unseat. So we know those teams have kind of stared down each other for a while. And I guess on the other side of that, the Pacers and the Cavs being emerging teams facing off against each other is fun too. So that'll be a fun second round and a fun rest of this Clippers-Nuggets game as well too. So yeah, it'll be this and Vampire in Brooklyn for us tonight, I guess. But shout out, chat. We'll be back later this week live here on the YouTube. Of course, you can find the episodes up on the podcast platforms like Spotify, Apple, and whatever else you guys are, just whatever random weird podcast app you have. Because make no mistake, it's just like every time I ask somebody, it's like, hey, you listen to Spotify or Apple? And they're like, oh, I just have this like random music app where I pull music off of YouTube. And you're like, what? Just get Spotify. Like, what are we doing here? Spotify and Apple, they're good apps, man. I don't know what to tell you. There's a lot of good music on there, and you can put them in. You can put it in a playlist, and it works. It works. And also the Rem and Sam pod is on there as well too. So the live feeds go up later on those platforms, and then the messages are open on Instagram as well too. Obviously, if you want to DM us at REMINGTOM on Instagram, you can do that there. So yeah, like I said, we will see you guys later this week. Thank you for hanging out with us, and enjoy the rest of your night.